everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, absolutely non-league, the show dedicated to everything from the Vanarama National League, Vanarama National League North, and the Vanarama National League South. Yes, I got it right this week. It's so tough, honestly. That show split has completely caught me off guard. Only just started getting used to it. But what a team, and what a lot of football we've got to talk. A lot of twists and turns throughout the day today and the playoffs, but I couldn't do it alone. Jen, how are you and how's your week been?
Oh, what? It's been really good this week. Our retain list came out today. Very happy. We've kept around 10 players. About 8 have been offered new contracts. So it's looking a lot more positive than it did last season. So, yeah. And I'm actually quite happy, just enjoying the time off football and enjoy watching everybody else and just being a neutral watching the games because it's been so good to watch the playoffs so far.
You know what the good thing is as well, Jen? You can talk about it on here tonight, your retain list. And then if you're on Thursday, because you're technically still an EFL club, you can talk about it then as well.
Yeah. I've got a rant ready for Thursday. So, it's a big one.
I love a rant. You know I love a rant. Yeah. And just to let everyone know as well, I did say it to the team off air, but I've got one. What made just, you know what? Should we all just have a rant today? Should we just get it all off our chest and have free therapy?
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of them days today. Bank holiday, we need to get a lot off our chest. Could be about anything, about life, whatever you want. If you want in the chat as well, go for it, but just not yet. Lee, how are you and how's your week been?
Good. Not so good. I mean, a week away in Budapest, which was nice, but then had to follow Twitter and found out the news that Worthing lost to Maidstone during the week. So again, it's another season in the National League South, but not all bad. It gives us another season to prepare and then get that title.
And don't know if you want to tell everyone, but what day is it tomorrow?
It's my 39th birthday.
And tomorrow. Everyone knows, and absolutely, I love this. I love a birthday just so I can sing. And everybody knows on the Absolute Football Podcast, I am the designated happy birthday singer. So, Ben, do you want to count me in?
Yeah, go on then. 3, 2, 1. Shoot.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lee. Happy birthday to you. Hip, hip.
All right.
Yay.
Faith, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
I was practicing. As soon as you put it in the group chat, it was your birthday, I was like, right, get a drink of water. I was going to go all a cappella and everything with a guitar, but I didn't have a guitar. Morgan, how are you and how's your week been?
I'm good. It's just been kind of counting down. Obviously, we've had the busy... it's just been kind of counting down when you were going to get second. It's just been kind of waiting. We've been playing good football, but it's like, well, what do we do now? We just wait until everyone goes to Eastleigh on the south coast on Bank Holiday Monday. So it's been weird, but it's been a good week.
Love that. And somebody who I think's had a fantastic week, judging by that big massive smile. Ben, how are you and how has your week been?
It's not been great, to be honest. I've got 2 more weeks of panicking now. We actually might potentially go up, but no, week's been all right. It's been hectic, obviously, and I thought I was going to get myself a nice early summer, to be honest, but looks like the football season's staying with me for at least 2 more weeks. So yeah, can't complain about it. But yeah, no, it's been all good. We're on cloud 9 at the moment, put it that way.
I love that. And of course, I feel like I'm going to get hiccups, by the way. I think it's the singing. It's telling me to stop. My body is saying, do not sing or I'll give you hiccups. But we do have a lot of people in the chat. We have got Chris. He has put, good evening. What a crazy day today. No, And that's just here. Sean has put, congratulations to AFC Telford on making it into the National League North South. We have got as well, Chris has put, they'll be in the North, Sean. Spennymoor played them before. And then Sean has put, at least they went up instead of Kettering. Oh, I know. Honestly, I was so gutted for Luke. I'll read everyone and heartbroken to the core today. Still feels raw. Honestly, I was absolutely gutted for Luke. Genuinely, absolutely gutted. We've got Greenacres. I bet Benny's happy. Worthing and Eastbourne cast aside. Lucas put, at least I got a photo with Smith today. One of the positives from the day. See, I love that. I feel like since Streety has been in our chat and everything, everyone can always find a positive about something now. I feel like she is the reason now everyone can find a positive.
Yeah.
No matter what you're going through, there's always a positive.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh!
Wow.
Right. Wow. Is it the beard? It's the beard, isn't it?
Do I even want to know how old Sean is? 65?
It looks it. I mean,
I'm such a cow, aren't I? I'm sorry, Sean. Sticking up for my team. We've got Chris up the Stones, and then we've got a very own Sam, evening legend. With all these playoff wins, Ben has had to shut the banks. National holiday. Love it. Sam the man, and then Lucas puts, I'll see another positive. Don't worry, I will be seeing Tom White next season. Love that. But
Me too. So happy I could cry.
I feel like there was only one league we should go to first, and that is the National League South playoffs. So we'll go in order first. So Boreham Wood 4, Dorking Wanderers 3. Who wants to start us off with this one?
I mean, I watched the game, so I can speak about it.
Go on, Ben, lad.
It was a great, crazy game. I think it's probably one of the best games I've watched this season. And when you probably looked at the game on paper, the two top goal scorers in the division, you thought, it's probably got 0-0 written all over it. But both sides, to be fair, game that was played, to be honest, an intensity that not many Perth games are normally played at, because it's always quite cagey, but both sides went for it, throughout the first 45. And goals sort of come out of out of absolutely nothing, really. I mean, I think there was a shout swing from reading from Dawkins' Twitter that I think the offside flag went up. They everyone stopped for a minute, and then Matt Rusher sort of carried on, played it in, and they've scored the first goal. And it's sort of basics, really. I think Mark White probably would have been fuming about the defending and everything, but they weren't really in the game. I say that actually, Dorking probably had the better of the chances, I would say. Bournemouth not for loads, and then second half, Dorking they had to come out for it, and honestly, it just went from craziness, like pure craziness. As soon as Femi Elisami, puts the ball into his own net, and you're almost thinking like, okay, here we go. This is more Dorking's territory. As soon as they get one now, they normally go on and win the game. And then as soon as Jason Pryor puts them 2-1 up, good, decent header as well at the back post. I think there was only one right in the wall, really, because I thought they would do it, and then they go 3-1 up, and there was another own goal, and with 10 minutes to go, you're just like, oh, come on now, they should see it through. Albeit Jimmy Mewitt got sent off, silly second yellow, to be honest, to get at that stage of the game. And I know Mark White knows why he always takes players off on yellow cards. He's always wants to do it, even if it's like 20 minutes into the game, because he can't risk people being going down to 10 men. And obviously that proves that, because Dorking aren't the defending type. But even then at 3-1, I still think they should see out the game quite comfortably. They've seen there's 7-8 minutes left. And then I think it was Abdul Malik, I think, might have pulled one back not long after. And then suddenly, I think as soon as they scored the second goal, I was like, actually, I can see them getting an equaliser, because I think the game was just sort of, going out with a bit of a whimper for Boreham Wood. But I think because they got the goal so quickly, it gave them that bit of hope again. And then was it Cameron Cox heading in at the front post? Great header, by the way. and then all of a sudden, you're probably looking at extra time. But I didn't think that Dorking were going to hold out with 3-3 with 10 men against a good side like Boreham Wood. Have got so much quality in their side and they're scoring goals for fun. I thought they might have got it to extra time, but they had a couple of big chances. Harrison Fox made a decent save. They had one cleared off the line as well. And then all of a sudden, Femi Ilasami went from 0 to hero with a stunning goal. 96th minute. The scenes behind that goal. I mean, albeit for a club like Boreham Wood, I haven't got many fans, by the way. Usually, I got for it quite a lot, but that was some limbs behind that goal. To be fair, it was a sort of game that deserved that sort of moment. It did. I think it was just heading that way, and I felt gutted for Dorking because obviously last week I backed him to win the game, and
all of us did. It was a full house, full house for Dorking.
And look, for about 82 minutes, I think they don't get the red card, then they do go on and win that game. But obviously, red cards do change games like that. And I think Mark White, I think we were all expecting him to really hit the roof on his post-match interview. It was a slight disappointment, but from a neutral's perspective. But look, to be fair, he was very reflective about it, very fair on it, and at the end of the day, he can't do anything about it now. They lost the game. It's the most cruel way to do it. Obviously, I saw us lose in a semi-final last year in the last minute. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. And Dorking will bounce back. They will. It's a tough one for them to take, but 100% they'll bounce back from that. I'm sure they'll be in and around that title for next season.
Anybody else got anything to add on the Boreham Wood Dorking game?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it because I was away, but yeah, the videos and highlights that I've seen and the atmosphere there and the Boreham Wood fans when the last goal went in and they just erupted, and it's good to see at that level how passionate the fans are and what that game meant to them. And yeah, you were right, Ben, like with the Mark White interview after. I was like, that's a bit tame for him. There wasn't any. He didn't lose it with him, nothing like that. In a way, you could say he was quite humble about it.
Definitely.
Right, the next one. Who wants to start us off? Worthing 0, Maidstone 2.
Well, I feel like go for it.
Well, I mean, again, I just want to say, at the end of the day, Maidstone were the better side. This season, there's been times where Worthing have been top, and you can't really say it, but in moments they have bottled it, and they've lost that lead at one point. I think they were 7 or 10 points ahead, and they went on a run and losing 2-3 games in a row, and then losing to Truro at home sort of just sealed that they were going to be playoffs. And I've got to say, I didn't think they would win Wednesday night. I thought it would have been Maidstone, and 2-0 Maidstone it was.
How was it for you, Ben?
A bit very, very emotional in some ways. I think I said last week that if we went into that game before the game, I probably would have been a bag of nerves. Wasn't too bad beforehand, but got closer to kick-off and George Elakobi came up to me and he's like, "You're right, Ben." I was just like, "Gaffer, I'm nervous. I'll be honest with you right now." So don't be a football manager then. And he won't be at ease with it. And I think Lee's right in saying, I think because they had sort of bottled the title, it was in their hands, and I think it still reflected on it a little bit, knowing that you've gone from being top with 2 or 3 games to go, and then all of a sudden you chase, you're playing 3 games to win promotion. It must have knocked the stuffing out of those players, to be fair. And I think we took advantage of that. I thought the players were absolutely unbelievable. Like their work rate on and off the ball was spot on, and tactics wise, we got it absolutely right. I think I always say that we set up so much better against the top sides. We got onto their high press, to the press very much straight away, because we know how Worthing like to play. They're very much from the back, and when you've got players, with so much energy, we've got up top with the likes of Tom Leahy, Aaron Blair. But like they're going to cause problems and make it difficult for teams. And it wasn't a game of so much quality in patches. I think it was very much even. I think we probably looks the more likely. I think, to be honest, I think Worthing I think their manager said after the game that they were lacking a bit of punch up top. They had Temi Babiola and Mo Fowl. They were really pretty much in Reece Greenwich and Temi Oweka's pockets, to be honest. They just didn't get any joy at all with any balls over the tops for them. And and obviously the penalty helps about 15 minutes in because it helped settle the nerves. Cracking pen from Ben Brooks, definite penalty on Tom, and stuck it away brilliantly. I mean, Mr. Reliable from the spot. I think that was his 8th, and obviously got his 9th. Obviously later on in the evening, and then I think it's definitely settled us down, and we just got on with it. Did what we needed to do, and we actually showed a bit of the different side of our game because we haven't shown too much gamesmanship at times where players, to be fair, I think we were accused a little bit of going down quite easily. And to be fair, I would vouch for that. I think we did at times. But then again, I think we haven't done that enough this season. I always say that for teams to get promoted, you've got to be nasty. You don't win promotion 100%. By being nice. Yeah. And I think some of those players knew the game and knew that if you frustrate the crowd, then all of a sudden, then it goes right in your favour because the Worthing fans started off loud and then it got quieter as the night went on and the fans got louder and louder, which obviously gives them that extra bit of boost. And then second half, we've done what we needed to do. We've had to dig into it deep at times. Worthing did have a go. Again, didn't really create enough. I mean, I was quite surprised because obviously when they played us at the Gallagher early in the season, they created probably more chances in 45 minutes than I think any side's ever created against us all season, to be honest. And they really just lacked ideas, and they were forced to go into long balls all the time, which isn't their game. And they really were struggling for ideas. And I think they'll be honest with them, saying I think they've probably let a huge opportunity slip, to be honest. Because to be fair to us, we've had enough time to prepare for the players. We probably had a couple of extra weeks because Worthing were in a position where they had a genuine chance of the title, unlike an outside chance with Bournemouth and Dorking. And obviously, in the back of their mind, they would have been preparing for playoffs, but obviously, we were already in that mindset, knowing that look, this is our chance now. And I always said we've got a great record away from home. We were one of 3 sides to beat Worthing at their place this season, so it kept us in good stead. And you get into that last 10 minutes, you do get that feeling like they were going to get a lucky, fluky deflection goal or something like that, and then we're going back to what it was last year in the semi-final. But then all of a sudden, we brought in some legs. We made the right change at the right time as well. Brought the likes of Riley Court, 18, 19 years old, absolutely ran his socks off and warranted the penalty as well, which again, Ollie Black completely took him out. There were a few shouts from their commentators that it wasn't. It was 100% a penalty. They were quite miserable in the commentary, but I can't blame them, to be fair. But then, Brooksy, never in doubt, top corner, 95th minute, wherever it was. And, I think I didn't really know how to celebrate. It was more of a case of just hands in the air, just almost thank you sort of thing. Because it's just made the last few minutes just a little bit easier for us. And the scenes afterwards were absolutely fantastic. They were, to see that the 600 travelling supporters celebrating with the players like that. It's almost like we'd won the playoffs already. And I know there's still a lot of work to do. And obviously we still had Sunday to contend with, but you've got to enjoy the moments a little bit. And, that gives the players a huge amount of confidence, and they absolutely fully deserve to win. It's a commiserating to Worthing because I thought, look, I said for weeks and weeks in this podcast, obviously in the lower league show, that they were going to win the league. I was adamant that they were going to win the league. And it's surprising that they have let it slip like this. And look, again, they'll be in that title race next year if they keep hold of, the core of that squad. They've built something good down there. Yona George has done a tremendous job. The way the club set up is there for the community. They'll be back up there fighting next season for sure. We might well still have to go there next year. This is the thing. So it was a game played in great spirits, and so proud of the players that they got through that one because it was a tough game for us.
Just wanted to point out as well, anyone in the chat, I know there is a couple of questions. I will come to them after we have obviously spoke about the playoffs, because they are to do with the National League South, but we'll get the playoffs and everything, talk out the way, and then we'll come to them. So don't think I'm ignoring you. Promise I'm not. So, semi-finals. So the first one we had was Torquay 0, Boreham Wood 1. Who wants to talk about that one?
I think I'll pick off. Just going on Torquay, obviously, they were so close to winning the title, obviously. Going into the last day, they won their game very comfortably. There was the hat-trick scored on the last day. They lose the title by, was it 2 goals in the end? I think it was.
Yeah.
Literally 2 goals compared to Truro, who obviously both from the southwest. They've got that wind massively taken out of them. And Boreham would have the confidence of, obviously, they've just beaten Dorking 4-3 in a mental game, winning in 96th minute, 95th minute because of Femi. Boreham would have the wind in their sails. Torquay have the complete opposite. They've got to just sit there and wait and watch the eliminator games, being like, well, we've got to play one of these 2 teams, knowing they've had everything going to last day. It's like, just win our game, we've got a chance at the title. They do everything they can. They score loads of goals. They have the hat trick, and it's just like, well, now what do we do? They play a Boreham Wood team who turn up, do their job professionally. It's only 1-0, but it's not really how many you score in the playoffs. It's a one-off game. It's a knockout. You do your job and you go through. And Luke Garrard knows what he's doing. He's been with this Boreham Wood squad for ages. There's a lot of experience there with Nathan Ashmore and like I said, Femi Olasami. They've got a squad there that knows what they're doing. They can either hit 4 in a game that goes back and forth, and that's a red card and own goals in 96th minute, or they can do a 1-0 where it matters. And so I think it's a tough one for Torquay. They've had a lot going for them. They've obviously had their struggles with finance in recent years and everything in terms of that. To then be on the up and say they can win the league, they can get back to the National League, they can get back to where they possibly belong. Obviously, they've been higher. To then hit a Boreham Wood team with that much experience and confidence, it's a rough one for Torquay to take. They're going to be back there next year. I think everyone that loses in these playoffs, Dorking, Worthing, Torquay, Eastbourne that we're about to get onto, I think they're all going to be up there at the end of next year. But it's a really, really tough one for Torquay when the teams around you in geographical sense, Yeovil are above you, Truro have just won the league. It's a tough one for Torquay, knowing that they are one of the biggest clubs in the southwest of England, and they can't get through the playoffs at the moment because they've just hit a very professionally well set up Boreham Wood side.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I think it's an interesting point as well, Morgan, about the fact, obviously, the momentum, and I think that affected Eastbourne as well. I think, to be fair, albeit it's an extra game, obviously if it goes to extra time penalties, you might be a bit, leggy. But the fact is, those 2 teams are waiting a week and everything like that, or longer, so to get back to action. And because both us and Boreham Wood had that momentum, from brilliant, wins in the week, I think it really sort of shows. To be honest, I think I secretly probably thought Boreham Wood would actually nick it. I probably would rather have gone to Torquay, because I think if we'd beat, obviously at the time thinking if we'd beat Eastbourne, I think we'd have a great chance against Torquay, because our record's always been so good against them, and even at their stadium as well, in front of a packed house. But I just thought Boreham Wood, it's there for them, to be honest. And again, a bit like what Worthing were on Wednesday, Torquay really just lacked ideas. I think they didn't really test Nathan Ashmore until, the last 60 seconds, where he's forced him into a decent save, low save in the bottom corner. But apart from that, I can't remember a single save he had to make in the game at all. And I think they was a bit too negative at times. I almost looked like they looked a little bit scared to make a mistake, which I get, because they are a huge club in this league. They probably are arguably the biggest club in this league. And when you look at, I've been to Plainmoor so many times, and it's not a National League South stadium; it's a League Two stadium, like the very least, if not a League One. So, it must have been a hard pill to swallow. And for Paul Wootton, who I think's done wonders this year, and the fans that are calling for his head after a defeat like that, get a reality check, because as Morgan was saying, they were in financial trouble last year. They were nearly not a football club last year. They had, was it 10-point deduction or whatever it was, and they were probably lucky to stay up in the end. And I think they had 1 player in pre-season. They've had to build a whole new squad, and obviously that's going to take time for them to gel. And I think what they've done, to be honest, this year is nothing short of remarkable. I know, they probably got one of the biggest budgets in this league, but again, it's not always about the budget; it's all about how you use it. And that Paul Wootton would have been under huge pressure to get him promoted. Maybe not necessarily this year from the owners, but from the fans' perspective, they would have expected promotion. And to have lost, I think, because it hurts more for them because they've lost it by 2 goals. And they're looking back to games later on in the season where they think if they'd taken their chances against, I think it was likes of Weymouth and Slough and everything like that, then they would have won the league. Yeah. But ifs and buts, that's the thing. It's one of those really. But I thought Boreham Wood, to be fair, were brilliant in the way they set up. They were probably again, very edgy first half, not really a lot to choose between the two sides. But in the second half, Bournemouth took the game to them, I think. They started using the wide areas more. They started to be a little bit more positive in their forward play. And the goal was really well worked as well. A bit scrappy in the end for Matt Rush, but as I know full well from what he's capable of, having had 2 spells of him in the last year or so, he's going to be in the right place at the right time. And they took the goal well when it came to him. And I think, to be fair to Bournemouth, they could have probably had 2 or 3 more in the end. I mean, the couple of breakaways they should have taken, they kept leaving Torquay in the game. And, thankfully, it didn't come to nothing for them. But I think Luke Garrard would have been pleased with the way they dealt with the occasion, because, again, you're pretty much surrounded by Torquay fans, over 5,000 of them, and you only got 280 of your fans. It is hard for them to probably blank it all out, but they've played in the National League stadiums. They've played at big stadiums. All these players. I mean, they were more or less National League. Well, they were all pretty much National League last year. So, yeah, it's a great achievement for Bournemouth to get to the final. Albeit, look, I'd expected them at the start of the season to be at least in the playoff final, if not win the league, because they have probably got the biggest budget in this league. I'll be perfectly honest. So, but again, they've stuck to their guns. They've been hitting really good form, and who knows? I think they might be the side now. Everyone's going to probably having their money now to put on for promotion just because of the form they're in at the moment. They are scoring goals and they've changed their shape as well, which has helped. But it's too close to goal. But it's really hard for Torquay, that one. I think that was a difficult loss for them.
I think going back to what you said about pressure as well, with it being in the Southwest, with it being at Plainmoor, the manager and the players have that bit of added pressure because Torquay will have sold that place out. It's a big packed place. As you said, it's a League Two stadium. And when you've got such a massive proportion of the crowd, you've got Bournemouth coming. Yes, they've just beaten Dorking, but they're coming here to do a professional job, whereas you've got everything riding on this game. They've just lost the title, and it is all down to this pressure, and everything is off. Bournemouth, it's like they can relax a little bit. They're just here to do a professional job, whereas Torquay knows this game is make or break. And you said about them being a bit scared. I fully get it. Like, you would be as a player, as a manager, you'd be terrified to make a mistake, because as soon as you do, the fans are going to get on your back. You don't want them to be, and they don't want to get on your back, but they're terrified of staying in this league for another year. So I can fully empathise with the Torquay manager and the players, because it can't be easy to get that close, do so much to get there, to then come into this game where all the pressure is on you. You've got to perform, and you would just start feeling a little bit scared. Like, what do you do? So yeah, it just didn't really line up with them at all. You've got a team with no expectation because of where they finished in the league and everything like this, and they're away from home, coming here with that bit of momentum compared to yourselves playing at home in front of a big crowd, finishing so close to winning the title. It just lent itself to Bournemouth in the end.
Yeah, I totally get that, and that's what I was saying last week about, I think, to be fair, it's probably been a slight advantage for us that we have been playing away from home, because our home crowd adds a lot more pressure to our players, because that's why our home record hasn't been as good. Because, like I say, as soon as they start making mistakes, you've got the main stand, you've got the behind the goal. They're all on the players in there, because they expect to win, and at this level. But then when we go away from home, our away support is so much more different, because you've got a lot more of the hardcores and everything like that are there every single week, regardless if we win or lose, regardless of how well we're playing or not. They're always there. And I think, it's not knocking, obviously, the home supporters that go, but I think it just adds, like I said, that more pressure, because obviously that's the thing. Again, we're not picking this up, but we are one of the bigger clubs in this league in terms of support base and, history and everything like that. And obviously, because of, recent events, obviously, of our cup run last year, everything that's fallen into place for us now, it adds more pressure to those players. And, playing away from home, it's all been about just shutting out, the crowds and everything like that, and getting the home supporters on, from the home team to get on top of their players. And I think that happened to Torquay, to be honest. I think they just really, caved into the pressure, and I think it just needed someone, maybe one of the sort of more senior players, to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and they just didn't have that at all. And I think that Paul Wootton, when he has time to reflect in it all, he'll see it as a massive opportunity missed, I think, to really push on, get to the final, because they were in the best place possible. Having 5,000 of your supporters there, to get him over the line and then promotion back to the National League, which is where they should be. That's going to take a lot of healing, and that for their supporters, and not just for the supporters but the players as well. And he's got some difficult decisions down to make, Paul Wootton, over the summer, to see who he keeps, because they're not far off, but they need some added quality in certain areas, and a bit more experience, I think, in certain areas, because that will be the difference for them from getting promotion from this league.
I thought as well, like, as I was looking at the fixtures and stuff, and it just worried me, Torquay, because of the situation, what happened with them on that final day. I thought their heads will be like down. They were so close to obviously, as we saw on that final day. And there was just something about them for me where I thought, they're not going to do it. I honestly thought they'd struggle because of how that panned out on the final day. Because it happens to a lot of them, doesn't it? It really does. But next game, Eastbourne 1, Maidstone United 2. Who wants to talk about this one?
You're looking at me. Where do I even start? Like, just wowzers, really. I mean, look, we go to Eastbourne Borough. We've got the best home record in the league: 14 wins, 9 draws, 0 defeats. The last team that they lost to was 401 days ago, and believe it or not, it was against us. So everything seems to be almost set up for us a little bit. Again, even though I think, like I said, they've had the week off and that, and again, the home advantage, I think a bit like Torquay, they had the added pressure of Eastbourne. They've got a very young squad, and I think it showed a little bit in the end. Yeah. But look, I think everything almost seemed like it was going to go wrong for us, right from the moment that I put the team sheet out, because about 20 minutes later, I get a message, from the the bench to say that Tom Leahy's pulled out. So he's been one of our star men in recent weeks. We've had him on loan from Millwall, and we put Riley Court in, which again we know Riley's capable, but again I thought it's going to be a big miss. Tom, I think he's like just more of he's a classy player and offers something really different in that final third. Riley's got legs in him, and we thought is this going to be a bit of a too much of a pressure game for him, because I thought it was a make or break for him, to be fair, in his career at Maidstone. But you know what? That boy ran his absolute socks off, for the cause, and was if I'm putting down a man of the match, I think he'd be right up there, because he was absolutely outstanding. And I think all the players bigged him up right at the end, because he knew how much the contribution was. Like, such a young lad, and to come in and to put the performance in was absolute class. But I think in terms of the game, again, a bit like the Worthing game, not a lot between the sides. I think, to be fair, I think we can probably control actually long parts of the first half without really penetrating them, on their goal. I think we handled the occasion probably a little bit better than it did to start off with. They did grow into the game gradually, Eastbourne, but I think we just showed a different side of our game. We thought, look, let's try and get silence the crowd a little bit. Just try and get some tackles in, have a few shots, which was actually different. We don't normally start taking shots on the edge of the box, but we was on yesterday. But then we get the goal right before half time. They could really struggle to deal with our physicality in the box at times. And when you've got Temi Aweka hanging around that 6-yard box, he's going to cause problems. And same with George Fowler. And slightly fortunate how it's fallen to Jacob Berkeley-Atkinpong, but tell you what a great turn and finish for the goal. As he's not normally his sort of game, to be there. He's always like one just to break things up and just keep things moving. But that was sort of a different finish for him. It's only his third ever goal for the club. I mean, it's his second once we've only had him back for the last 5-6 weeks we have, and he was a player I loved last year. He was a good part of our cup run as well, played a huge part in the wins at Stevenage and Ipswich. He really deserved it. And I thought, to be fair, we probably deserved to go in a goal ahead, based on the first half. And I thought, but the thing is, though, I'm looking at their bench, I'm going, they've got George Alexander in the bench, and on any other day, he would be starting. And look, Alfie Pavey is someone that we know everything about. He was part of our title-winning side a couple of years ago. He's a local lad as well, and he came through our ranks at youth ranks at Maidstone, so we know what to expect in the second half. And I'll tell you what, he's shown really good strength he has to get the equaliser, albeit from our point of view, really poor defending from Greenwich and Aweka. Two big lads like that should not be getting pulled apart by one man. But you've got to give Pavey some credit. I think he dealt with it really well and finished it really low. Great finish, to be fair. Nothing Andre Jr. could do about it. And then the ascendancy with them, as it always is going to be with the home team. As soon as you give them a bit of a leg up, like, it's all going to be there. And I think for the next 5-10 minutes, I think we really had to weather a storm. They started to play the ball out to the wide areas more, which they're very strong in the wide areas. And they've got the likes of Bamba. He's so good he is in that final third. And we're starting to get low crosses across the box. We had to put our bodies on the line a little bit. And then you just think, right, okay, we need to probably freshen it up a little bit here. And also we had a couple of players on yellow cards as well. And I was just like, we need to change something. And then all of a sudden, with about 10 minutes to go, Charlie Seaman gets a second yellow card, which I'm going to be totally honest here. The referee absolutely messed up both cards for me because neither of them are cards for me. Because the first one for Charlie Seaman, he shot about a second after he's blown the whistle and he's gone and booked him, which I thought was, completely wrong. And then the second one, it's a normal foul. There's nothing in it at all. Look, I think it's definitely a free kick, 100%. I totally agree with that. But to give him a second yellow for that, like he's just, bodied him and done nothing, not put a foot in, not raised arms or anything like that. And I'm like, there's nothing. It's just an ordinary foul. And he's just used the opportunity with the pressure of their players to get him sent off. And, for the second game or the second time we've gone to Eastbourne now, we've finished with 10 men. And let's be honest, I think all our supporters, and including myself, probably think in our minds, think that's it. Now we're done. We just, how long do we hold out for? Are we going to have another last minute, disaster again, just like last year? And then, you're looking at the clock with about 5 minutes to go. You think, can we get this to extra time? Because I think, to be fair, we get to extra time. I think it's all there for Eastbourne. They should go and win the tie, to be honest. And even as soon as we get the red, they should be going on to win the tie. Some reason, though, 89th minute, Riley Court plays a brilliant ball over the top. I didn't realise it was Riley at the time, to be honest, because I was just so focused on Aaron Blair as he Rainford off it defender, ran clear on goal, and there was only ever going to be one outcome. And he's, only place he could have put it underneath the goalkeeper's legs, just about squeeze it through. I do like to apologise to the Eastbourne fans because I absolutely lost it in that press box. I think I was the only one that let up. The journalists and radio around me, I think I was the only one that let up at it and just like, come on.
Love that.
The limbs in that away end were absolutely fantastic. They were because it's such a different feeling. And it almost felt like it was written a little bit after the events of last year. I think it's now us on the the right side of that sort of moment. And I think it took about 2 or 3 minutes for the players to actually get back because Riley Court then pulled up with cramp, and then you saw 6 added minutes. And you thought, hang on, we've played about 3 already, so God knows how much more time's going to be played. And do you know what? Even after that, I thought Eastbourne were going to absolutely lever our box. And they did. To be fair, they absolutely just peppered balls into our box, and I generally had that bad feeling they were going to get an equaliser. I just had that feeling, even with 10 men. And then, we get to the 99th minute, and as soon as the referee blows that whistle, everyone just hugging each other. I think a few of our players decided to taunt the Eastbourne fans running around the side of the pitch and that. Although I won't accept the fact that that some of their fans threw bottles and everything like that.
Yeah,
obviously it's not.
I saw that, and I was just that is disgusting behaviour. I don't care what kind of game it is or anything, but you do not throw stuff at players, especially in a stadium where you are so close to the players. You're not kept back, you're right up against it. So if you throw something, it could instantly hit a player and injure them, and there's just no need for it. I just don't understand why they needed to do that at all.
No, exactly. Look, we've been, every club has at some point in their lives and that, I've seen players taunt supporters and everything like that, because it is part of the game. And look, maybe our players went a little bit too far, maybe a little bit, but even then you don't throw stuff at them. People will probably throw abuse and everything like that, which is part of the game, isn't it? But to throw stuff at the players, I thought, no, that's not on. And it's a shame because the vast majority of the Eastbourne fans, it was a cracking atmosphere from both sets of supporters, to be fair, both going at it, one each other. And then, I couldn't wait to get on that pitch afterwards, with the players. I think you could see actually on the stream and that, you could catch me hugging Riley and George Fowler as well, Ben Brooks, just trying to get anyone I could get my hands on a little bit before I started getting all the scenes and that. And I think that's probably the best I felt after a game, probably since Ipswich, to be fair, because it was to go anywhere in a semi-final to get a result away from home is difficult enough. And when you go in there, you're down to 10 men. You've only got one writing on the wall, and then all of a sudden, this is a team that haven't lost at home all season, and it's you just don't expect that's going to happen to you. And this is where I start to get caught up in the moment, thinking, hang on, we might get promoted here. This might actually be happening. Because everything just seems to be falling in place, albeit that we've had a little bit of luck in the last couple of games. The fact that key players have been out from the opposition team, whereas obviously Worthing didn't have Danny Cashman for long periods of the game. He was on the bench. And then you've had George Alexander on the bench for long periods of the game. We know Boreham Wood are going to have a full squad available for that one. So, we've got to prepare for that properly. But look, I think the Gaffer's given it to the players. They fully enjoyed the moment. They've got probably 2 or 3, I guess, 3 or 4 days like that to, you know, celebrate the moment, because this is what you're in football for, isn't it? To enjoy moments like this. And then I'm guessing probably by middle of this week, then work starts, you know, preparing for, you know, a massive game for the club, you know, to get us back into the National League after, you know, a couple of years away. And it's not final. I don't think anyone would have probably predicted, to be honest, at the start of these playoffs. But it just had to be, with obviously the movements that some of our players have had from us to Boreham Wood with Matt Rush and John Benson going there. We had them both. It just felt like it was written in the stars a little bit. But you know what? Whatever happens at player final, we're under no pressure, because we're not going to be the ones losing loads of money if we don't go up, which Boreham Wood will. And I would like to hate to think how much Eastbourne are going to lose, because some of their players, some of their wages I've been told they're on. It's ridiculous. And look, you know, we're not under that same pressure. And I think that's what the players have got to go into it as. So they've got to enjoy the moment, but we want to finish the job, because otherwise all this will feel like for nothing. So yeah, got 2 more weeks of sleepless nights, worrying about, you know, going to Meadow Park, and hopefully putting on a show for you know, the club and getting us back to where I think we belong as a club. So yeah, cracking day out for everyone involved.
Just a quick story as well. I don't know if my sister Amy is in the chat or anything, but as I mentioned in our group chat yesterday, we were out with the kids. We went to our local cricket club and stuff, because all the family and all our friends like go there. So there was a group of us and all the kids were playing football and stuff. So we actually had our eyes on the Maidstone game. So we had flash score on. Honestly, as soon as Maidstone scored, we both jumped up. We were like, yeah! Papa jumped during a game of cricket, right? This was like during a game of cricket. And I tell you what, how nervous me and Amy were for that injury time, because we had no idea what went on. We were like, we've only gave this much. Why is it like 100 and odd minutes here? And honestly, we cheered so loud when obviously we won. So God knows how you were feeling, Ben, because we were feeling it.
Yeah, I think I've really struggled with that last 6 minutes, to be honest, because that's the thing. Again, before the game, I was actually so relaxed, because I was like, look, we're here and it is a bonus for us, because I think everyone probably expected Eastbourne to win the tie. But I just think, look, as soon as when you get an 89th minute winner, you're just like, oh my God, like, you know, this might be happening. I think we won't get a better chance than this at the moment. And then, yeah, those last 6 minutes, I really struggle. I'm trying to think of something to type, because obviously I need to keep everyone knowing what's going on. But it's like, what do I do? It's like because I'm too nervous to type right now, and I want to put the full-time graphic up, like ready to go. But I'm like, I don't want to tempt fate. So
No.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? But no, I thank you all you guys for your support and everything like that with that, because it's made the win feel a little bit better as well. So no, there's loads of people that, you know, follow us now, and obviously through the podcast as well. I mean, I had a good amount of messages as well from people from the pod, so thank you for that as well. And but look, I'm going to go into full player mode here. It's not done yet. We've won nothing yet, and we've got to turn up now in a big final against Boreham Wood, and they're going to want to win that just as much as what we do. So, But again, it's a one-off game, and we rise to the big occasions, the one-off games, as I've alluded to so many times. And I just hope that it won't be us, because to us, of the 2 player finals I've watched Maidstone, we've won both of them, and I haven't experienced, you know, us losing a player final yet. And I don't want this one to be the first one, because it's Boreham Wood. But let's see. And yes, Chris, it is a 12:30 kickoff. So, and actually that helps because what was the kick? Thank you, Amy. I was just saying about the 12:30 kickoff, though. You know what will happen? We beat Ipswich 12:30 kickoff, and we beat Stevenage 12:30 kickoff. It does help playing early. Actually, I would rather play the 12:30.
Yeah,
you're not sitting there all day thinking about it. You almost like fresh, ready to go and get on with it. So I'm actually delighted it's a 12:30 kickoff. I'll be honest. More time to celebrate.
I might have to grab a ticket for the final and make my way down.
Oh, you have to. I mean, we're still waiting to hear on our allocation and everything like that. But I hope they'll give us about 1,000. I'm hoping, but knowing Boreham Wood, they probably won't do that at all. You know, they'll probably get a big crowd out for it themselves. But I just hope they give us a justice amount of it, because we want it to be a pro atmosphere. But then again, they'll want to play as many mind games as they can with us. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll know in the next couple of days.
Liam put this as well. Criminal that the North and South playoff final games are not at Wembley / a bigger stadium. I completely agree. It's unfair.
Yeah, I think no matter like where you are, you should be able to go and play at Wembley because not everyone gets that experience, and it's such a huge day out, and there's such incredible memories that you can make there. That I think everyone deserves a chance to go to Wembley and play a final there, 100%.
Yeah, I think if we got to the player final, I always said if we got to Wembley, I think we'd take around 15, 20,000. I really do that because obviously we're a big town. We've got 140,000 population here, and so many people follow the club outside of the town still. And when you see the likes of Bromley and that when they've gone up there, and Bromley's attendances weren't as good as ours before they got into the EFL, and they would take in 20, 25,000, I think, to to their FA Trophy final against Wrexham. I think we'd quite take them out because I think as soon as you say Wembley, everyone's going to want to go. So everyone's saying that can they justify the cost of it? But as soon as you get to Wembley, everyone wants to be a part of it. Be a part of what's going on at the club, even if it's for a few days. Which you don't mind. I'm obviously gutted. It's not a more neutral round because a lot of our supporters have missed out on tickets as well. So we only just about sold out in the end for Eastbourne, but I think it's because there were a lot of debacles about how the ticketing situation went. But I think we could have easily taken at least 800-900, if not 1,000, down to Eastbourne if we could. But obviously, we were only given 500 because that was the minimum allocation they could give us. So, I hope they will look at that in the future. But I dare say not because they only care about the National League and not the North and the South of the league, to be honest.
Got this one as well from Greenacres. How high will Maidstone need to go for them to get nervous about losing George Elicoba to Wolves next time they are looking for a manager?
Well, I know he keeps every time we're on the bus and that sort of thing, he's like, if he sees Wolves win, he's always jumping up. It's like, yeah, go on the Wolves. He still loves his Wolves, he does. But you do worry about obviously losing someone like George. But then again, I think as far as I know, he's still committing until the end of next season. So he's still fully ours and everything like that. And look, this is the thing where I think he needs a bit of credit for as well because he was under huge pressure after the first month of the season where fans were chanting for him out, and even at times during the season, he's still been given pelters by supporters. But do you know what? The man gets results, and it might not be the most entertaining football to watch at times. But do you know what? The last couple of games have actually been tactically, it's actually been good to watch because Aaron Blair does a lot of running. We know that, but he's got the best out of him in the last couple of games because of the way we like to play. But look. George has done a phenomenal job for the club. And if he walked out tomorrow, he'd walk away a club legend. As a player, he wore his heart on his sleeve every single game. And as a manager, he achieved something last year that no other Maidstone manager has ever achieved in our 150-year history, 127-year history. So, he could be on the cusp of now a promotion, which gets back where we belong, in my opinion. And hopefully we can keep hold of him. But I think as far as I know, he's fully committed to the club and he absolutely loves being here. And there's so many people around the club. I mean, I love him to pieces. He's been so good with me personally. So is Craig Fagan, assistant manager as well. They're both, brilliant with me. They treat me almost like I was one of the team, which is nice because some previous managers haven't done that with me probably as much as they have. And you really feel really a part of it as a media volunteer. And at the end of the day, look, I'm still a supporter at the end of the day. If I weren't doing this, I would have been in those terraces at Eastbourne. Yeah. So, but to have that experience, these experiences to go and be involved with it and, be on the team bus afterwards, they're all getting the beers out and everything like that and having a sing-song on the way back. It's it's what it's all about. And, I'm in such a privileged position to be able to do that. And especially as a volunteer at the club, which, wouldn't give it up for anything at this moment in time.
I love that so much. Right.
I think. Sorry,
Morgan. No, go on, Morgan.
Can I just touch on the Eastbourne side of it? Because it must be really weird for them. I was just sat here thinking about it. We've gone through and talked about every other club that finished in the top 7. Obviously, Truro won the league, and you've got the fairy tale aspect of that with John Askey in there. And their budget going into the league. You've got Torquay finishing second, how close they got. You've got Bournemouth, Maidstone, Dorking have all been in the National League in recent years. Eastbourne are kind of the forgotten club in this, and I don't know if that impacted going into this game, but no one's spoken about them at all. They're a smaller club in terms of fan base and everything like this. I think they've been in the National League, but not for a while. I don't know if that impacted anyone at the club or whether that took some pressure off or how that impacted going into this game, but they've just been completely forgotten about in terms of the media side of it, like no one's really talking about them. You've got so many other storylines in the top 7. You've even got Western-super-Mare who just missed out on the playoffs. You've got a lot of teams, a lot of other storylines in the National League South this year. Eastbourne just completely got forgotten about, and I don't know if that impacted the players, the manager, the club in general, the vibe around the place, but it seemed like no one fancied them. You weren't hearing everyone being like, Eastbourne are the ones to watch, they're going to go do it. They finished 3rd, they finished on the same points as Worthing, they missed out on the title by a point. They were just kind of forgotten about, and I don't know if that did have any impact, but it possibly did, and I think it's something that you can kind of touch upon as a possible reason, or something just to mention is the National League South playoffs have gone in a certain direction, and these lot have just been completely forgotten about. They've finished 3rd, they've lost in their semi-final. They go again next year, and hopefully they'll be talked about a bit more, because they could go and win the league, and then in a year's time we're talking about them as a National League club again, rather than any of the bigger club that we've talked about when touching on the National League South.
Yeah, I think definitely, because I think, to be fair, this is probably the start for Eastbourne a little bit. I think they will get promotion to the National League in the next at least 2 to 3 years, if not earlier. They've got all the resources there. They've got an owner that's going to pump money in. They've got a good set of players. I think they just need a little bit more experience in that side. I think everyone probably had Eastbourne to go down at the last year, because obviously they wasted their budget last year, and that's why they ended up where they did. And they brought the completely wrong players in, but they brought in Adam Murray. Adam Murray's bought into the philosophy of and the direction the club wants to go in. Obviously, in the media side of things, they want to be the most talked about club, and it is, like I say, it is interesting. Yeah, we haven't really mentioned them too much, but I think they've definitely gone above and beyond. I think again, some of their supporters are really disappointed not going up this year, and obviously they're going to be. But I think I saw the owner's face afterwards, and he looked like a broken man, to be honest with you, because he probably generally thought this squad was good enough. And looking on paper, he had a full capacity crowd, in his stadium, hoping to see Eastbourne make a playoff final, and they failed to achieve that. But from their side of things, they've seen it as a really good season. They've from where they've come from last year, a relegation battle now to 1 point off the title. Look, we can talk about budgets and everything like that. They have got one of the biggest budgets in this league, without a doubt. They train more than what our players do. They're 4 days a week. We only train 3 mornings, so they've got more on their side. But I think they just really lack in a couple of areas. Maybe potentially in the centre of midfield. I think they just need a little bit more experience in there. A couple more senior heads, and I think they can definitely go for the lead next year if they can keep that core of that squad together. And do you know what, they've given a good account of themselves this year, and so I think they've got to be proud of what they've done this year, to be fair, because and support has gone way up as well. Their attendance have gone way up. They used to get half decent attendances, but it's into the 2000s now for them, which is again, that's where they want to be. And obviously, look, they are looking and think, look, we've been in the National League before. We've probably been overdue it now. And they would have seen yesterday, obviously 100% a massive, again, a bit like Torquay, a massive missed opportunity, just because we were down to 10 men and they didn't take the game to us. And it's a massive learning curve for their players, and they will learn from that for sure very quickly. But they won't be far off from becoming a National League club again, definitely.
Right. The final, let's preview it. We'll get predictions because they all went so well last time. Morgan, I'm going to start with you. Boreham Wood or Maidstone United?
It's a really, really tough one to call. I've got I'm just going to put that out there. If I get it wrong, it's a difficult game to call. So there's my excuse already. One of someone I know, she does some of the photography for the Boreham Wood players and stuff like that, some of the training photos. So I speak to her quite regularly about National League and National League South and stuff like this. So I've got, knowing Ben now and knowing her, I've got someone on either side. I want you both to win here. It's a bit of a weird one. I'm seeing a lot of comparisons from Boreham Wood now to when we got promoted to the National League a couple of years ago. You played the first game at home in a bit of a chaotic game. We won ours, I think it was 3-2 in the end against Chorley. Then you go away to a really tough game. You win 1-0. Then you're at home against a team that finished 7th after finishing 5th. Boreham Wood are completely mirroring what we did in 2022. So if anyone's going to do it, it's lining up with them and what I know works in the playoffs. They've got experience, they've got quality, it's lining up. But Maidstone have just done 2 away games in a row against teams that finished higher than Boreham Wood did in the league. They're going to have the confidence. Ella Kobe knows how to win big away games. He's won at Ipswich. He's won at Stevenage. He's won away in big kickoff games at 12:30. He can get the preparation right. There's little niches of each one. It's like I'm seeing mirrors here. I'm seeing what they've done. It's going to come down to the finest of margins. And I don't know who's going to take it. I have to put my head online, have to say something. I'm going to say Boreham would take it. I'm really sorry, Ben.
Oh, that's fine.
But it's really, really tough one to call. Yeah, Boreham would by a single goal.
I always feel bad coming to like the person who supports a team. Do you know what, Ben? I'll get it out for you now.
You pick who you want, Shah. You pick who you want. I'm not.
I always feel really bad though. What are you thinking then, Ben?
Oh, sorry. No, it is too tough to call. I mean, I know it doesn't count for anything. We've taken 4 points off Boreham Wood this year. We got a late draw up at their pace in the first month of the season. Just 6 weeks ago, we were the last team to actually beat them before they went on a 7-game winning streak. We beat them 4-0. We absolutely battered them that day. We know full well it's not going to be like that this time round. If it is, then please hand me the champagne right now. But it's. I'm going to back the boys, obviously, because I think they've proven themselves. And as Morgan was saying, we've gone to probably 2 of the most fancy teams to go up this year and beaten them both on their own patch in front of full capacity crowds. And I don't think many teams would have fancied us at all, at 7. I think, again, I don't think we're going to go into that game as favourites. We're going to go in, not under as much pressure as probably Boreham Wood are, because the implications for them are far worse than what it will be for us if we don't go up. And look, if we do just lose out, then I'll be absolutely devastated. But again, look, I think even then, we still need maybe another year or 2 in this division. I really do, to really get some money together and hopefully get a real good crack at the National League, because our theory is that we go up, we will come straight back down. But if the promotion's handed to us, we're not going to not turn it down, because I want a trip to Morecambe and Carlisle potentially, or maybe a longer way trip.
And York, not Rochdale. I'm joking. I'm joking, Morgan.
No,
Go York. They battered us last time we went up there. Oh God, no. But yeah, look, I'm going to go with our boys. Look, it's going to be close. I think we're going to do it 1-0. I just think our defence is going to get us there, because look, they've been absolutely fantastic this season, and in these playoff games they've really stood up to the plate. So I'll back my boys to win this game 1-0.
Lee,
I'm going to go Maidstone. I think yeah, from seeing the highlights from the Worthing game and seeing the highlights from the Eastbourne game, I just think in my eyes, Maidstone are the team that may want it a bit more on the day. And yeah, I see him nicking it 2-1. Just because I think Boreham would like to concede goals. So yeah, I think maybe if they've got a leaky defence on the day, the hype of the day, the playoff final, I think it might be too much for Boreham. And I think Maidstone to take it.
Jen.
It's such a hard one to call, because you don't know what's going to happen until the day. They could both absolutely turn up in the day, and it could be like a 5-5 thriller, and it goes to extra time and penalties. And I don't think Ben wants that. But like everyone else has said, I just think Maidstone are gonna do it, because watching the past 2 games, I just feel like there's something about that team. It seems very special. It seems very close bonded. It reminds me quite a lot of Morecambe when we got promoted. We was the underdogs. Nobody expected us to go up. With the budget we had, with the players we had, no one expected us to be promoted to League One. So I think, for me, looking at it, it has to be Maidstone, because it just reminds me so much of when we got promoted. And I think it's such a special, special team. And again, they'll go in as the underdogs. So for me, it always has been and always will be root for the underdog, because you never know what they could do.
Before I say mine, I'm just going to go to the chat, because there is a couple of people who have had some predictions. So Green Acres has put Boreham Wood 1, Stones 2. 3-2 to the Stones. Shauna's put, I'm going to go Boreham Wood, which means Maidstone will win. That's exactly my thinking as well. Just because every other prediction I've got wrong. I don't want to jinx Maidstone if I predict them to win. Chris has said, this made me laugh. Maidstone to win, and Ben goes full blown and at the Football Content Awards with his celebration. Got to.
Yeah.
The difference will be the top will come off, I think, if that happens.
Lucas put Maidstone for me. I always love Maidstone United fans. Very nice bunch when they came to obviously Gateshead. And Chris, come on. I would love JCB in the same league, but come on, give us a chance at playoffs, please. Please. But yeah. I do not like Morgan said. I'm exactly the same because I feel like both teams have got here for a reason. On the day, they can both perform. Obviously, my heart is with Maidstone, 100%, because I want Ben to obviously come up. But as everyone knows from my predictions, I'm really bad. So I am going to go for Boreham Wood. But at the same time with Boreham Wood, I just feel like they do have that little bit of a story behind them from obviously getting rid of Luke Garrard, parting ways with him, obviously bringing in a new manager, bringing him back. Is it kind of written in the stars for them and for him to bring them back to the National League again? I'm not really too sure, but I will go with Boreham Wood because usually my predictions are awful and it's usually the opposite. So, Ben, I'm doing it for you, Ben. My heart is with Maidstone, but...
Funny, well, Luke Garrett's been sitting in front of me for the last 2 games as well. It's just almost like we're coming friends now. Apparently, well, the thing is, though, I'm newspaper reporter because he actually said hello in that, sort of thing. Apparently, he said my name. I was like, I didn't hear that. He's like, no, yeah, he said hello, Ben. I'm like, how does he know my name? He's like,
I watch the podcast. He's friends with Jim McNulty.
This is what we were thinking. Like, you might watch the podcast. So if you are, big up Luke. Well done.
Or I hope he is, because then he knows that I love him from last week. But I did choose Mark White over him. But I'm sorry, Luke. Mark White comes first. Everyone knows that on this podcast.
Yeah.
Number one
Mark White,
groupie, as I mentioned. But yeah, we do have a couple of questions as well, just on the National League South. It was Chris, he asked earlier. It's for you as well, Ben.
Well, that is a tough one, to be fair, because obviously all the relegation teams, obviously we will come on to with the National League, are very much Southern based, and they are going to have to mix it in a little bit with all the teams coming up. I can see Merthyr going into the north. I generally can. Hemel, they're borderline, they are, because the only thing is they did it with Bishop Stortford a few years ago, and they're not too far away from Bishop Stortford, and they were pushed into the north, which absolutely killed him. And if that does happen to Hemel, I can see him getting relegated, to be honest. I just don't think they'd have enough to stay in that division, but who knows? But I think if I'm putting money on it, I think Merthyr, to probably be in the north next year, and Hemel to just cling on to the south. That's why I like being in, where we are in the country, because we know we're always safe.
Yeah.
Not going to spend any more on a Tuesday night. Sorry, Chris.
I do find it a weird one, but obviously they have to draw a line somewhere, with it being Bishop Stortford and other teams. I know Oxford have played in both North and South. I think Gloucester have played in both North and South. It's a really weird one. And when Bishop Stortford were put in there was a lot of kind of complaints about, we should be in the South. We're near Stansted Airport, all of this. I'm fairly sure that it's closer to get to Spennymoor and Blythe and Darlington than it is to get to the southwest for Truro and some of the really far southwest ones. So it's a bit of a weird one when people say the travel's going to kill them, because it's actually closer going north than it is west. So it's a bit of a weird one. It always is a weird one when you're drawing the lines, but I think it's a slight cop-out. This might be slightly harsh on those teams that are forced into the wrong division, but it feels like a slight cop-out when you look at geographically and the mileage and everything. You have to do more miles going to the southwest than you do to the north, even though it's all in the south. It is actually a longer journey. It's harder. It's worse to do. Yeah, east-west much harder than north-south. So I think
I agree with that.
You are more almost. I think going into National League North, whoever does get pushed, if it is Hemel, we're going to go into National League North. I think it's an easier one. I think National League North this year or next season is going to be easier than National League South, because National League South next year is going to be horrible. When you look at I was going to say, Ben, you don't want to be in that league. You really want to get out of it. You've got one of you
going up.
Yeah, you've got one of you, one of the loser of the playoff final. You've got Eastbourne, Torquay, Worthing, Dorking, Dagenham that we're going to get onto, Ebbsfleet that are going to be better, Maidenhead that are going to be better. Dover have just got back into it, as Luke was saying with his comment. You've then got like Western Super missed out. Like it is going to be a horrible, horrible league next year. I think Chelmsford have been in around the playoffs for the last few years. They're getting, is it Angelo Harrop that's gone there?
Yeah, they'll definitely be up there.
He's going to turn them around. They're going to be a lot better. There's going to be about 11 teams you'd back to get the playoffs. So, Ben, I bet you're praying you get out of that because that is going to be horrible. It's going to be so
yeah. I will be. That's the thing. If I need a Bible on Saturday night, then
Ryan.
Right. So we have got the National League North playoffs now. This made me laugh. National League North next year is just going to be vibes. National League South is going to be agony and pain. Made me laugh. So I don't know who wants to start Tuesday's game. So Chorley 1, Kings Lynn Town 0.
I think, didn't we all say that was going to happen? I feel like we backed.
I feel like we
Chorley.
did, yeah.
Last week,
Lower scoring than I think we expected, because now Chorley were one of the highest scorers in the league.
Yeah.
They've obviously, as you said, like they're in the northwest. They've been in around the National League North. They've got that catchment area. They've scored a lot of goals this year. For them to get through 1-0, as we all said, we all expected it. I think we expected a few more goals, but it doesn't really matter. You've got there, you do your job, you get out there. They kept a clean sheet as well, which they'll be happy with. Yeah. But they did what they needed to. The other one being Chester Buxton, that I think we found a lot harder to call. Two teams that are going to score a lot of goals. Chester with the home advantage, that big crowd. They've the allocation actually for Chester, we'll get onto the final, but the allocation came out today, I think it was, for going to Scunthorpe, and they've been given 1,500, which is a really, really good away allocation by Scunthorpe to give them that much. It's more than the 15% that they have to give them. I think it's about 2/3 their general home attendance. So Chester have been given a really nice allocation. So having that amount of fans just for the eliminator against Buxton had it difficult going there. You finished 7th. You only got in on goal difference ahead of Curzon, a point ahead of Chris's Spennymoor. Like Buxton had it difficult going there.
Yeah. And
Chester didn't make it easy. They took it to extra time. They got there. And it was the two teams that I think we all expected to get through. Northwest beating the Midlands. But yeah, it set up two very nice semi-finals with those two doing their jobs.
I don't know if anyone actually saw the game as well, but Buxton had a chance, like literally in the last few seconds, and they should have actually buried a chance as well. It was quite obviously under a lot of pressure, but it was one of them. On any other day, that chance probably would have gone in, but like the occasion and everything, it didn't. And honestly, it was gutting for them because it was like, no. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I went for Chester.
I went for Chester. I want as many ones.
Yeah.
And then
we'll have to get them back up. I'm going to clip them. I might have actually got 2 right so far.
Is that worrying for National League South? Is that worrying for Ben and Maidstone?
Take it back. I'll quickly just go into the chat. Sorry. So we will get onto these other games. Chris has put Scunny have a big ground / stadium, so no surprise about that amount. It is nice of him, like Morgan said, though, because you don't have to obviously do that, do you? Luke, now I like this playoff final here. Scunthorpe versus Chester. I don't mind who comes up. I love that from Luke. We've got as well Scunny. That's how I said it. Scunny. Scunthorpe. We'll leave predictions. But yeah, the next game. Scunthorpe United 4, Chorley 2. Did anyone get to see this game? I was out both Saturdays, so I didn't.
No.
Obviously they came out really quickly, scored a few very early goals. Just pull up the where is it? They scored some really early goals. The third goal by Callum Roberts is absolutely brilliant. I don't know if anyone's seen it.
No.
He's on the right-hand side. Yeah, brilliant goal. And I know Scunthorpe fans have said how good he's been and how he's not National League North quality. And everyone said it at the start of the year. If he stays fit, they're in a really good place to get promoted. And he's been excellent for them this year. And they've got him, and on the other wing, they've got Mo Federa, who's on loan from us. And Scunthorpe fans cannot stop raving about Federa. We signed him, and I think he was playing like 9th tier football or something like that. He was playing really low down in the pyramid like a year ago. We signed him as a National League club. He was playing quite local to York. I think he was almost playing park football. Yeah. And he played a bit for us in the National League. And he wasn't very good. You could tell he was young. You could tell he was raw. He had something about him, but he just wasn't good enough for a York team going for promotion. We loaned him out to Scunthorpe, and they've absolutely loved him. He's been brilliant for them. And you can just tell it's all clicked for them. Whitehall scores twice in the first 20 minutes. Callum Roberts scores a screamer, and they're 3-1 up at half-time. And you're just thinking, they're going to do it. Obviously, second half, a bit closer. It's a 1-1 second half. But Scunthorpe just do the job at home in front of their home fans.
Whitehall came from our academy, and his dad's actually a Dale legend. It was a bit before my time, but my mum and my dad always talk about Stevie Whitehall, his dad, and how good he was. But that was before my time. But yeah, he didn't really get the chance at Dale. Didn't really get much chance of first team football, but he seems to be doing really well. Obviously, for Scunthorpe. I know he had a bad injury quite a couple of seasons ago as well, so it's nice to see him obviously getting back on the score sheet.
Yeah, I mean, look, but we know the quality that Scunthorpe possess. That's the thing, because they've got a lot of what I call National League quality in that team. Like Danny White, only a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure he was playing for Eastleigh, because I remember he scored a belter against us at our place. And then you got likes of Callum Roberts as well. Again, he was one of the goal scorers in that one, and you know he was highly raved at Notts County. You know, when they first dropped into non-league, and then had a bit of a falling out, I think, with supporters and various things going on at the club, and I think an injury as well, I think maybe. But to see those players now really stepping up to the plate, because sometimes when players drop from the National League into the lower divisions, they find it hard to adjust and maybe think it's going to be a little bit too easy for them. And maybe last year was a learning curve for Scunthorpe, obviously losing in the path to Boston. So this year they knew they almost had to take the shackles off a little bit, and albeit it's taken until the playoffs for them to start doing it, but you know, scoring 4 goals in that, a couple of really good goals actually. I'm pretty sure the 4th goal as well. It was a nice goal actually. To be fair, curling left-footed shot into the side netting, and it sort of took the game away from Chorley a little bit. But I think, to be fair, I think Chorley fans have been totally honest. They probably expected that was probably going to happen. I think it was almost going to be a case of who turns up in the final. So yeah, I think, to be fair, Chorley, I think, are probably happy they've got to the semi-final, but because there's so many big names in that division, they were always going to be hard to come up against. So yeah, the Scunthorpe are, really are now, so we'll get onto it in a bit, but obviously they're now 1 game away from starting the redemption almost of getting them back to where they need to be as a football club. And National League North, as Claire will know, is not a place you want to get stuck in for so many years, as Stockport knows. So yeah, they've got to make sure that they do the job against Chester.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying about that squad having a lot of national quality, going through it, Ross Fitzsimmons in goals at Chesterfield, Michael Kelly was at Eastleigh, Whitehall, as he said, was at Eastleigh. They did the double, took them both. Max Coogan in defence was in National League with us at York. They've got, I mean, even players like Sam Fishburne, who was on the bench, he's played higher. Mo Federa, as I mentioned, was on the bench. They've got so much quality there. So I think Chorley kind of expected. They've done well to get that far, but yeah, Scunthorpe just gone there. And as you said, you'd hope they've learned from last year where they lost to Boston. Obviously, they've got another final to come, so we'll learn on the 17th if they've really learned their lesson. But yeah, they've got a lot of quality, and you'd think they're just getting the job done, be professional, go there, just play these home games, and you'll get back to or closer to where they belong.
Mm-hmm.
On the Kidderminster Chester game, Did we really touch on this last week? Obviously, Kidderminster against Chester or Buxton.
Don't think we did.
I don't think we did that
much.
No,
I don't think we did. No.
The was one Scunthorpe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because Kidderminster, to be fair, they're a team who've had experience in National League and Football League before as well. Obviously, have they still got Phil Brown as a manager? I'm pretty sure they have, haven't they?
Yeah, he's still there, yeah.
The experience he brings to them. So this was a little bit of a shock to me, to be fair.
I think.
Again,
Go on.
No, you go ahead, Morgan.
All right. I was just thinking back to last week. I think I name dropped Declan Weeks. I think we briefly touched on it. I think I name dropped Declan Weeks. Then as he scored the 82nd minute, I saw that. I was like, oh, yeah, I said that.
I love that.
It must be brutal for Kidderminster. They've got an attack of Amari Morgan-Smith being there, done it. Maz Kuya won us he basically won us promotional single-handedly. We signed him from Hereford in the February when we went up, and he was absolutely brilliant. Scored in the playoff final, so he's been there, done that. Ashley Hemmings as well, and as part of that front three, they've been just brilliant at front three. Phil Brown, with all the experience he's got, like everything's lined up for Kidderminster to go and at least get to the final here. They were top going into the last day of the season. All they had to do was win away at Southport, and they don't do it. It must be brutal being a Kidderminster fan. You've then got to go to like Hereford again, where I know they've got a bit of a rivalry there. You're being left behind by some of the other Midlands teams in terms of like Solihull, a smaller club, not been to the Football League before, and they're in the National League and have been to Wembley and stuff. So it must be really, really tough being a Kidderminster fan at the moment, because nothing has gone for you recently. Chester, they've just carried on that form. 2-1 twice away in a big game. Can they do it again against Scunthorpe? They did 2-1 against Buxton. They're leaving it late. Obviously, Declan Weeks in the 82nd minute after extra time against Buxton. They're leaving it late, but they're getting it done, and they've just got that momentum. If they can keep it rolling, then they'll be back in the National League.
I think it goes back to that point as well, as we were talking about with Worthing, the fact that they were top with a few games to go, and the effect it clearly has on the players when they don't achieve it. And obviously, look, I know the North obviously wasn't as intense, obviously, as having 6 teams. Obviously, there was only 3 teams going for it, but even still, like, Kidderminster to be top on the last day of the season, knowing that they're 1 win away from promotion, and now all of a sudden they've lost 2 games and their season's done, just like that. And that's why it's so important when you have a real setback like they did at Southport, that Phil Brown picks up the players, and said, look, it's in your own hands now. You're 2 games away still from promotion. Like, it's not the end of the world, albeit they know obviously the opposition they have to come up against is not exactly like you're playing with the greatest respect possible. You're not playing the likes of Farsley Celtic every week, and you've got to beat 2 very good teams to win promotion. But it just goes to show that that it's all about momentum going into playoffs as well. And having the real setback like that would have knocked them very hard. And even though they took the lead, and you would have thought that would have raced them, they would have got everyone on side a little bit. But then I think they conceded 15 minutes later, and and suddenly their fans probably get a little bit nervy. And do you know what though? It was a cracking goal from Declan Weeks actually. For the winning goal, we took it so well. Into the bottom corner, and again, great scenes in that away end for the Chester.
I say those limbs in that away end were absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's what I always say. The Northern fans are more passionate than us in the South. To be perfectly honest, so I think that's always been the case in my opinion. But I think Chester are well overdue to come back into the National League. They've had, I think it's now 7 years away from it, because I'm pretty sure we went there penultimate game of the season where they'd just been relegated, and the whole place was down, and they felt like the club was going backwards. But Callum McIntyre, or I can't remember his name, the manager at Chester. I remember him coming in. He was like the youth team manager, I think, at that point. And then obviously they had Bernard and Jono for a bit, didn't they? And then obviously they brought him back in, and now he's put them back, within touching distance now of where they really should be as a club. They've always been in the sort of National League, League Two, for a number of years, and obviously the reincarnation of the club has brought them back up, and then they've been let down again. And I think Sunday will prove to see what that club is about. And you wouldn't be one to say that it's going to be Scunthorpe's day, because Chester have got there by merit. Obviously they've come through extra time in the eliminator, which again, like sometimes when you win a game like that in extra time, it just brings so much enthusiasm into the squad. And then you go to Kidderminster Harriers, who, like, again on paper should have won the league last week, and they go and win that game in the style they did, with a late goal. So they will be going into that brimming with confidence against Scunthorpe. And again, a bit like Chester, a bit like what I said about Boreham Wood, Scunthorpe are under huge pressure to go up, because again they must be paying their players a good amount of money. If we've got a lot of national equality to go into that league, albeit they've got the facilities, they've got the fan base, everything's there for Scunthorpe. But there is no illusion that they are under huge pressure to win this game, because they need to start getting back to where they are, and that is being a Football League club, because they were there for so many years. And, again, it wasn't that long they were in the Championship. So, again, Chester are a bit like us in a way. The fact that, look, they don't put loads and loads of money in. They're very much self-sustained. Like they don't take more than what they usually, pay for, if that makes sense. So that, again, they probably won't be under the same pressure that Scunthorpe will be, and they can go into it, as underdogs. And as Morgan was saying, I think 1,500 of their fans being in there, what a huge boost that will give. And to be fair play to Scunthorpe, because it's quite easy to try and make it as awkward for the opposition as possible and give them the bare minimum. And then you've got basically everyone else drowning out, like the away support. But now that's going to make it a proper promotion final. And it is a case of who made the best team win. I mean, I think I would love to see Chester come back up. I've got a lot of time for Chester. The occasions we played in, they've actually, a good club. They've good people there. Scunthorpe, again, didn't have an issue with them. And, that their fans have suffered for so many years, and they need some light back in and some, some new life into the club. And hopefully that promotion final will do it for them.
I think, right, I think because the pressure will be on Scunthorpe, I just think Chester are going to win. I feel like they've already beat Kidderminster, who we've said as well, are a really big club, have got the quality. And I just don't think they will be as much pressure on Chester than they will be on Scunthorpe. So I really do think Chester are going to win.
Yeah.
I think it'll be normal time as well, me. I think it'll be normal time.
Yeah. I think what Morgan was saying, like, it's just a case of have they learned their lessons from last year, in the semi-finals.
Yeah,
again, they lost that at home. So a few of those players would have been involved in that, and they'll have that in the back of their mind for sure. Because you're only human at the end of the day, because you know what failure looks like. You don't want to feel like that again. Whereas Chester, they haven't been here for quite some time. So they're a brand new sort of squad for them. It's a new experience for a number of their players and also for the manager. So they are in a good place. And I think, to be fair, I think like you, Shah, I think Chester are going to win. I don't know why. I think the pressure might be a bit too much for Scunthorpe, because I think if they'd won the league, then maybe we can justify it. But because it's a one-off game now that decides their season and what the finance implications will be, I just think it's just there for Chester to do it. So my backing will be with them.
Oh, two of us have gone for Chester. Morgan, what are you going for?
I don't know. I want to kind of touch on the implications if it is Scunthorpe, because if Chester stay in this league, Fylde have just come down, Macclesfield have just been promoted, Rochdale and Oldham are both in the playoffs and might not go off. Obviously, Shai, you're hoping for it. I'm hoping not, because it would mean York not gone. But like the Northwest in the National League in the National League next year, if Chester do go up, could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You've just got a lot of Northwest derbies. So I think it'd be interesting if Chester go up. I've been to both grounds, both quite nice little setups. Obviously, Scunthorpe's a lot bigger. Yeah. There is a lot of pressure on them. Chester can go there, and they do have a bit of everyone or the world against us. Basically, they are going there. Can they prove everyone wrong? They've done it against Kidderminster. I think I'm going to back Chester. I think I'm going to join you in saying it's going to be Chester. It would be horrible to be a Scunthorpe fan if they don't. They've had so much turmoil. They lost in last year's playoff final. Are they going to do it again? I think so. I'm going to back Chester.
Lee, what are you thinking?
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here. And I'm going to go Scunthorpe. I think the team itself is too much of a big team for Chester.
Yeah.
And I just think on the day, I mean, Scunthorpe beating Chorley 4-2 and then coming into this final, I think I'm going to go Scunthorpe, and same as you guys, it's going to be normal time. I don't see penalties or anything like that. 3-0 Scunthorpe.
Oh, confident. Jen.
It's got to be Chester. It's got to be. I need as many northern teams as possible. Half of it is southern, okay? I need to. But no, honestly, I think Chester have just been so good in these playoffs that they're going to carry that through to the final. They've just done incredible throughout these playoffs. And I think it looks like a really good stadium as well. And it looks like a great set of fans. When that second goal went in against Kidderminster, that crowd was just unreal. The limbs that are in there was crazy. So I think for me, I think it's going to be Chester. It's got to be.
Oh, We will see. We will see. Before we obviously get to the National League results today, I will come to you, Jen. Obviously, your retain list came out today. Do you want to touch on that? Because I know we did have someone as well in the chat.
Yes. So retain list came out today. We will touch on last season's retain list. Last year we had 2 players contracted. We had to do 19 signings on one day. Last year it was that bad, and that is down to the ownership. It's always been down to the ownership. It's still down to the ownership. But this year is looking a hell of a lot more healthier than last year. Going off what's come out today, Guion Edwards is contracted. He has been out injured for a very, very long time. He had a really, really bad injury, but he seems to be getting better and he'll be there next season. We've also got Harry Burgoyne, Luke Hendry, Ivan McAdam, Jamie Stott, Ben Tollett, Dave Tatonda and Tom White have all triggered 1-year contract extensions, which is incredible for us. Because that means that's the squad already. He's not going to have to make 25 signings this year. Like, he's not going to have to sit there and go to a load of clubs and figure out which players he wants. Yes, he's probably going to have to make double figures again. He's probably going to have to sign 10, 11 players. But it's not 19 players, which I still can't believe he did that last season, because as soon as it was posted on social media, it went viral, because I don't think any other club has ever signed that many players on one day. We have lost a few good players, which is difficult as a fan, because you get so attached to these players that you just, like, when it is the end of the season, you see this retain list and you see them go, it's so hard to say goodbye to them, because you've built the bond, they've built the bond with you. It's never going to be easy to say goodbye to them, which is hard. But then on the other, we've got Lee Angle, Adam Lewis, Paul Lewis, and Jan Songo have all been offered 1-year contract extensions, which is incredible, because they are some of our best players from last season. If they sign them extensions, I think it could be huge for us going into the National League. But if they don't, then fair enough. I don't blame them. I don't actually blame them if they want to leave. If we keep Lee Angle, huge, because he was massive for us in the second half of the season. He was scoring goals like no tomorrow. If we would have had him throughout the whole season, I don't think we'd be where we are now. So I think keeping him is massive, but we'll just have to wait and see if he signs. Hopefully he will. There's a lot of fans thinking he will, because he's very attached to the club. And then also on a very, very good thing for our academy, even though we are in the National League now and our academy is maybe not going to be there if we stay there for 2 years, is 3 of our academy players have been offered pro contracts, which is incredible for us. 2 under 18s and 1 under 19 have been offered professional contracts. Lennon Dobson, who is an incredible player. Adam Fairclough, again, phenomenal. Every time he comes on, he's been incredible for the last couple of games he's been there. And then Alfie Scales, who is one of our goalkeepers, which I think is massive for us. That means we have 2 goalkeepers. We never didn't have that last season. We struggled massively last season with goalkeepers. So to have 2 goalkeepers within the squad is going to be massive for us. I think going into the National League now, it feels a lot more safer knowing that we've got these players. We're not going to have to sign 20 players, but he's not going to have to sit there for hours and hours watching tape, figuring out which players he wants to sign. I think going into next season, I'm very, very positive about it now that we have seen this and we have seen the players that we have signed and possibly will be signing. I think the one for me that is massive is Tom White. I've spoken constantly in the lower league about Tom White. He's not just my favourite player. He is fully into Morecambe. Like, I've never, ever, ever seen a player talk the way he does about Morecambe when he's been there for a year. One season he's done with us, and he has brought that club into his life. He is constantly talking to the fans. He's constantly taking pictures. He's constantly talking about how much he loves not just the club, but the backroom staff, the staff behind the scenes, everyone that works there. He's never sat there and slagged someone off. And then I wasn't there at the last game of the season because I was working, and my friend texted me after the game, and she said, "Oh, he obviously did the laugh of honour at the end of the game," and she said, "Tom White walked past and he was wiping tears from his eyes." Like, that's someone who's been there for a year, and he's got this bond with his club. So I think keeping him is massive for our midfield. He has been one of our best players throughout the season. We are so lucky to have him. And I think the fact that he's staying is going to be massive. I think, if I'm honest, I'd put the captain armband on him, because the way he speaks and the way he does the media and connects with the fans is just incredible. I think, for me, Tom White is probably our player of the season. And I don't say that lightly, because I love every single one of them. Like, every single one of them is incredible. But to be in the position we are now, and to have these players signed, and to have like 9-10 players, we've got like 4 offered contracts. That's 14 players we might already have on the books. Last year we had 2. So I think this is huge for us. It's huge for Derek. It's huge to see what he can do, because not only have we got these players, he's got the pull with loan players. Like, the pull he has with loan players is massive. Like, we've had loan players this year from like Barrow, Liverpool, Hull City. Like, there's loads of pulls that he has throughout the league. And I think if we can use that and get some loan players, I generally think we could be fighting in the playoffs next season. And if we even get a smidge near that, I'll be more than happy. But I'll be more than happy being mid-table and just surviving in the National League for one season. But I think as a fan now, it feels, yes, we've gone down and it's not the greatest feeling, but it's a hell of a lot more positive than last year.
Love that. Just 2 things I wanted to add, Jen. Obviously, on the Tom White thing, I really love that, because it could have been so easy for him to jump ship and go somewhere else. So I think that's a massive positive. Because there was a few players, obviously, when we dropped into National League, some of them wanted to stay and prove themselves wrong. Obviously, Cameron John was one of them, who's obviously at York now, Morgan's team. The other one was Ethan Ebanks-Landell. And that was a massive thing, because a lot of them did want to jump ship and go to an EFL club and things. They had offers. So that's massive. The second one is obviously the pull on players. This was one of my worries at first, because I thought, oh, loans, no one will want to loan someone to a National League club. No, completely wrong. And that's where, and I think I've said it on the Lower League show, as much as we all hate this National League Cup, we've got some of our loan players from that, especially Manchester United and Jack Kingdon, who we've had on loan this season. It's from seeing like them in a National League Cup and getting them relationships as well. And Derek Adams will have that 100%. Yeah. It's amazing, because that was one of my worries. I thought, oh no, here we go. All them like relationships we've had with like EFL clubs in the past, no one in Premier League, no one's going to want to loan them to that. But no, it's a complete opposite. Like, we've still had the relationship with Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesdays, your teams like that. And some of them actually prefer that National League experience for the younger ones, because it toughens them up. They actually mentioned it last season, and Adam Clayton did an interview, who was with us at the time, and they actually said him and Jim McNulty, like Sam Mather, and there was another lad we had from Manchester United. They wanted to specifically loan them out to Rochdale and the National League than an EFL club, to kind of toughen them up, because they said, like, get 5 minutes in training with Adam Clayton, who's a dirty centre midfielder. That'll probably, who loves a good tackle, that'll probably toughen them up. But I honestly, I understand what you're saying completely, because I feel like it's a bit similar. And I say it every time. I feel like with us, it's kind of like deja vu. But yeah, and hopefully, as we've mentioned previously as well, a takeover will happen in the National League. I'm hoping, fingers crossed for you, because it has to happen now. Yeah. Has to happen. But I just love that Tom White has dedicated, obviously, that, because it could have been so easy for him to just think, no, do you know what, National League? But I love that from him.
Yeah,
such a role model.
Yeah. It's just incredible from him, like the way he's connected with the fans and the backroom staff and everyone is just incredible, and he's only been here for like 1 season. If we could get a takeover this summer and sign him down for 3-4 years, he could be a club asset 100% because he has taken this club in like it's his family. He loves all the backroom staff. He loves everyone involved. He'll stand there and talk to fans for hours if he could. Like, I've never seen a player so attached to a club within a year like he was.
I think you need that as well, because obviously with everything, and I know the lack of communication from the owner, it's nice to kind of get that communication and have that connection with obviously your players, the backroom staff, things like that. You get it with Derek Adams because you're not getting it from the hierarchy at the top. So that's absolutely massive. So I love that.
I think it's always really key as well to have a core of a squad as well going into the national.
Definitely.
Do you know what? I mean, Morgan might remember this. When York City dropped out the Football League, they had a complete get rid. You know, everyone was thrown in the bin. They brought in, I think, about the same thing, about 18, 19 new players. Yeah. And what happened to them? They dropped into the National League North because of that. And I think it's so important that you keep. It doesn't have to be, 14, 15 players. That's something you have to keep hold of and add maybe another 5 or so. If you can keep at least 5 or 6, then you can build something around them. Because Leighton Orient had that same problem as well when they dropped into the National League. Albeit it was a completely different situation. Well, I guess in terms of compared to York, because obviously the financial trouble they were in, but they built a whole new squad and they very nearly, but when Justin Edinburgh before he came in, they were heading one way, and that was the National League South. And I think if you keep that thing, those players that want to be there first and foremost, I think if they want to be there, they want to fight for the club now, which obviously the likes of Tom White clearly do. Then you've got every chance, that's the thing, of at least sustaining yourselves as at least mid-table, if not pushing towards those playoff places. And I think that's the thing. I think it'll be key to see, though, the recruitment is going to be massive, though, I think, for you guys. I think you need to add lots in the key areas and get in players that know this league inside out and maybe know League Two as well. So I think that'll be the difference, I think, for me, if Morecambe have a successful season next year.
Yeah, and I know we've spoken about it a few times in terms of like National League compared to League Two. Teams are going to look at Derek Adams and Morecambe as, in National League, you've got less to lose. In League Two, you're fighting to stay in the Football League. You want Football League status. In the National League, everyone plays to win. Charles, we've said it before. Everyone plays to win in the National League. You'll play maybe 1 or 2 teams. Eastleigh are one of the worst for it, but almost everyone else in the National League will turn up and want to win. Derek Adams teams in the National League will turn up and will want to win.
100%.
You want to prove something. So whether that's Man United or anyone else around, they will look at Morecambe and Derek Adams. He's got the experience. He's got a bit of a core squad. It's not like we're loaning. They won't be loaning to a bit of a mess of a club where you've got 2 players signed on and what you're getting. You're loaning to an experienced manager with a core squad who knows what he wants. You're going to be a bit of a team that people want to loan to. Charles said about Rochdale and the Man United link. If you do drop into the National League Cup, that's obviously more experience for them. I think things are going to go quite well for you. Obviously, you've kept Tollett, who I know he was really good at Fylde before he then left to Oldham and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how he does in the National League in a bit of a settled squad. But I think the recruitment should go quite well. He's got time now. We're only in May. The season starts in August. You've got 3 months with an experienced manager who knows what he wants. I think you're going to be able to be okay here.
Yeah. I feel as a fan, it feels a bit different this year. Now we have these 8-9 players signed up. We're not thinking, oh my God, we need to sign 20 players. It's a whole new squad. I think Derek was thinking from his point of view today, probably when he sat down with these players and said, look, I've got this, do you want this? I think he was generally sat down thinking, I need to take a core squad into Mr. National League. If I want to be in mid-table or near the playoffs, I need to fix a core squad and work around them. And I think having 3 academy players is huge. Some of them are just incredible. Adam Fairclough is massive for an 18-year-old. Like, his legs are huge. And I'm just like, if we can build around that squad, then why not use it? Why not use our academy to the advantage? Because we don't know if we're going to have that in 2 years. Why not use them now? And then, if needs be, we can sell them on for money. I just think I feel a lot more positive this season than I did last season. But if he can get some pull on some big loan clubs, like Reece Williams from Liverpool, like in League Two, he has constantly said he's never felt more at home than he did when he was with Morecambe. So I really, really hope that he pushes on with Liverpool now or goes out on loan to a higher team because he deserves it. And he's been incredible for us. But for Derek to have that pull with a Liverpool club is just incredible.
What's great with that as well, though, Jen, say that they think he should go back to an EFL club next season. Word of mouth is a great thing.
Yeah.
The amount of people who have said they've enjoyed the time, like Sam Mather and stuff last year at Rochdale on loan, and the reason why Jack Kingdon has now come is like word of mouth because they've all enjoyed it. So that's a massive, massive thing. And you just think some of the academies and stuff and the players that are coming through like year after year, and not just with Liverpool, maybe your Manchester Uniteds, Manchester Cities, people like that, even your Sheffields as well, because it's surprising how many Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United do loan out to the local clubs like us, the Northwest clubs. It's great. Burnley are another one. Like their academy and the players that have come from Burnley, like we've had I nearly said Super Sam Waller in goal then, because I never call him Sam Waller. We've had him, sorry. I was nearly singing his song. We've had like players like that, and as I've said the season before, we have had another person. Then we had Owen Dodgson as well from Burnley. So it's a great thing once you kind of get that relationship, the managers. It's surprising season after season. It might not be the player you had the season before, but it's a different player, and it's really good how it works. Because, like I said, I was so surprised because I thought, oh, here we go. No one would want to come to us from an EFL club. They're not going to come to us at National League. But what I find really refreshing as well, Jen, with Morecambe, is the fact that you've been able to offer these contracts, and that's honestly like so promising.
Yeah, it's huge. Promising. Like when it came out today, I was just like, I looked at it and I was like, is that right? Like, is that actually right that we've offered these contracts to like 9-10 players? Because it feels like every season we're just getting a full new squad. And as fans, it's obviously hard to connect with someone you haven't seen play before. Whereas now we've got 9 players that we've connected with and they're our core squad. So I think it's huge for us to have these signings done and dusted, and you can go on holiday and enjoy themselves for a little bit and then come back and we can work on what we need, probably goalkeepers, a few strikers, a few defenders, and I think we're more than set up 100%.
Love that. Morgan, I don't want to talk about Rochdale, so you can talk about York. Don't want to do it yet. I'm not in the right mind. I'm happy at the minute.
Let's say we're in a bit of a weird spot. The last 2 games we won 2-0, and we've just got the fixtures up here. We haven't lost since the 22nd of March, which I think it's like 9 games unbeaten. Our last 2 games, we're winning so easily. I was watching I didn't go down to Eastleigh. I was watching it in the pub, but it was just we were in second gear for so much of it, and we didn't start very well. Cameron John had a bit of a rough start. He ended up scoring because he found himself up front by himself. He was throwing goal. He took it around the keeper and scored. It was brilliant. He scored his first goal of the season. Yeah, he scored his first goal of the season last week, and now he's got 2 in 2 games.
So I feel like he's done that on purpose so you can rub it in my face. He watches it, I bet.
Oh, he does. Cameron John, he loves it. I remember I DM'd him or I tweeted about him after the Barnet game back in October, and he sent me a DM being like, yeah, I've been working really hard. Like, I want to show the fans how good I am and all this, because it started a bit slow. So, yeah, he definitely watches this. Like, him and Jim McNulty both watch his podcast. It's the only reason. But no, we're looking like we beat Solihull 2-0. We beat Eastleigh 2-0. We're not getting out of second gear. I'm kind of scared to see what we can do when we get into 3rd, 4th, 5th gear if we need to. I'm not looking forward to the playoffs because we're going to play Oldham or Halifax. Halifax, we played them away in October and we beat them 2-1, scored in the 93rd and 96th minute, I think it was. We were 1-0 down, scored in the 93rd and 96th minute, and it was the best limbs I've ever had in a away end. There was more away fans than home fans. We completely took over their ground. It was mental, and then we scored these 2 late goals. But we didn't play well that day. Like, we got lucky almost. And then we played them at home and we were 2-0 down after 3 minutes. And it was like, what's going on here? And they came and they pressed and they had to prove a point. And we were sat there for the entire game hearing 1,400 Halifax fans out singers. And it was like, this is really embarrassing. I don't like this at all. And then we scored in the 95th minute, I think it was. And we equalised, got 2-2 draw out of it. but they bullied us. They came to us,
Yeah.
they bullied us, and I don't want to face that again. It wasn't a nice experience, sat there watching us get bullied to a Yorkshire rival. The other team's Oldham. We drew 1-1 with them on Easter Monday, and again, they bullied us. We didn't start the second half. It was just wave after wave. It's like they're going to score at some point, and they score a set piece, and they are a team of big players like Monty, like Norwood, like Garner. Obviously, they've got Mickey Mellon has built a squad of a very specific play style. It's not the prettiest to watch, but it's seriously effective against us. We like the ball on the floor. Obviously, you've seen us play. When we're on it, we'll pass teams to death.
Yeah.
But Oldham and Halifax will come to the LNER in a few weeks' time and will look to bully us, and I don't want that because they're both going to bring big crowds. I think we have to give them 1,400 because of percentages and stuff like that. We have to give them 1,400. They're going to come here. They're going to be loud. They're going to want to bully us, and I don't want to face that at all. I don't want to go to work the next morning if we lose that game. So we're in second gear. We're playing well, but I'm scared.
You're very similar to us where we like to play football and we struggle against them physical teams. And honestly, Oldham in particular, all they did to score the goal against us at home was a header straight on Fondop's head, then sat back for the rest of it and just bullied us. And that's the type of team you're up against. And Halifax are very, very similar in that aspect as well. I think I'd rather play, from my point of view, if we got them, I think I'd rather play Halifax and Oldham because obviously we got 4 points out of them games, and I do feel for you as well because obviously if you get Oldham, you've got that added pressure of obviously your owner. And obviously the Oldham situation, there's been a lot of dramas with that, hasn't there? Obviously with Josh Stone's thing as well. But do you not think it could be like written in the stars if you did get Oldham that Josh Stones could score?
I'd love it. I mean, we had the scary
he'd be my hero.
We had the scary moment today of Ollie Pearce. He went off holding his hamstring.
Oh, no.
And my heart dropped.
Oh,
he was smiling. Like Adam Hinchelwood seems quite relaxed about it. I've not listened to his interview yet, but Pearce was smiling about it. Hinchelwood was smiling about it. It seemed to be quite a relaxed vibe. So we do have a few weeks. Obviously, it's the 20th we play, but still, I've not seen Ollie Pearce look hurt at all this year. For him to walk off holding his hamstring, I was terrified.
Especially at this time as well.
Yeah.
Like if we'd done it in November, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Doing it in the second half of a game we've already won, it wasn't fun. But if he is injured, so be it. We play Josh Stones up front. He costs 350k. He's scored loads for Oldham. He knows what they're doing. Like there's worse replacements to have. It could be far worse. So
hopefully as well, it's nothing like that. And you think because you're through now to obviously the semi-final, it's a couple of weeks now, isn't it? Yeah. So hopefully from that point of view, even if it is just like a muscle injury or anything like that, hopefully he's got that little bit of time to recover. Because obviously he's had a brilliant season, Ollie Pearce. We spoke about him on here, but on the lower league show, we've buzzed over him, haven't we? All season. We absolutely love him.
He's missed at Worthing a lot. Him and I think have you still got Felix?
I love him. He's my favourite player.
Yeah. He just won Clubman of the Year.
What a player Felix was for World. When him and Ollie left, it was just like, who are you going to replace them with?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the sort of players at your club that are difficult to replace. You've got two really good players.
Joe Felix is so loved. He won the Clubman of the Year. It's a fan voted thing. Every fan absolutely adores him. I've never seen him play with such attention on him. He just does not stop running, and I don't understand how he does it.
He was adored at Worthing as well. People loved him there. Yeah, he just doesn't stop.
I mean, the thing is, I think we know obviously the combination that them two possess, and I think for me the difference is it is maybe stating the obvious, but Ollie Pearce will be the difference between York going up and not going up because he is the man for the big occasion. I know Worthing obviously weren't successful in the playoffs last year, but he scored 2 in the semi-final against us. He scored in the playoff final against Braintree, so he has been involved in big games. But obviously, it's a different scenario where it is a step up now. It is National League, you've got bigger crowds. obviously the final being at Wembley as well. I'm sure he hasn't had the experience of playing at Wembley before, so whether he'd be able to cope with that or not if they get through to the final. His goals are scared for any team, and that's the thing. Like, whoever goes to York, and whether it's Oldham or Halifax, they will have at the back of their mind thinking, we've got to take Ollie Pearce out of the game. And the same, obviously, the likes of Joe Felix as well. We know the strengths that York possess, and again, Hinchwood might have to maybe adapt the game side, because obviously I know obviously his style, having watched Worthing last year, I know how he likes to play, and he is very much from the back. And against sides like that, they might have to be a bit more nasty and be a bit more nitty and gritty, because that's what the playoffs are all about now. It's not about who plays the best football; it's about getting the result now. So he might have to change it, albeit that might be going to compete against everything that he stands for, with his playing style. But in a situation like this, he might have to gamble a little bit. Whether it pays up for them, I don't know. It is too tough to call, but it really does depend on who they get in the semi-final, to be honest.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think one of the slightly worrying things is if we get either of them, especially Oldham, they play three at the back with three very, very big defenders. If you put Ollie Pearce, he's, I think, 5'9". He's not big. He's not quick. He's incredibly intelligent, incredibly good on the ball.
Yeah.
But if they play anything in the air, he's just going to get dominated, unfortunately. Yeah. So it might be a case of just having to adapt some things. One thing that I am really glad about is Adam Crooks, who no one talks about enough, kind of outside of York circles. He's a brilliant defender, but he's made of glass. When you get him fit, he's brilliant, but you get possibly about a third of a season, maybe half a season out of him. When he's on, he's brilliant. We've got him fit at the moment, and he's playing in a back three. We're playing back three at the moment with Crooks, Fagan Walcott, and Howe, and they're brilliant. It adds that bit of extra height rather than playing Cameron John, who, as good as he isn't as good in the air. So playing three proper centre-backs. If we then play Josh Stones, if we bring on Linnell John Lewis, we've got that bit of added height, which we will need in these games because, Halifax and Oldham will come to bully us. So having Adam Crooks there is massive. He's brilliant. He's composed. He's good in the air. Yeah, I'm excited to see him playing in the playoffs.
Do you know what? I'm going to go to the rest of the fixtures.
we avoid Rochdale.
No, we will talk Rochdale. I promise we will talk Rochdale. Any standouts? You know what, Jen? I'll come to you first. Could have said Braintree, aren't you?
Yeah.
It was, to be fair.
No, I'd probably, there's not many on there, to be fair, that are shocking. I think if you've got to mention Barnet, aren't you? They've just had such an incredible season this year. And I think them going into League Two, I think they'll be absolutely fine. I cannot see them struggling one bit coming down next season. I think they've got the right set of fans, the set of players, set of manager. I just think they're going to be like a Bromley. They're going to be absolutely fine in the league. I think what they've done this season is outstanding. And it's been so hard for teams like York and Forest Green to catch up to them because they've just been running away with it. And fair play to them because they've done an incredible job this season and their fans must be absolutely buzzing with what kind of season they've had football-wise. So I think Barnet deserve a little bit of love.
Lee?
I got to agree with Jen. Barnet. Got to give it to them. I went and watched them at the beginning of the season, and they looked good then. But just to see where they pushed on from and to how they've won the league and gone about it, you got to say, they're going to be fine next season. And I reckon, mid-table finish for them. I don't think the fans won't have to worry about them coming down.
Ben?
For me, it has to be Wealdstone against Halifax. Yeah, they raced into a 3-goal lead after 25 minutes. And we was obviously in a big debate when we last heard about how Halifax were approaching it. Obviously, with them already securing a playoff place, would they rest players? I don't know if they did, to be fair, in the end. I didn't actually look at their side. But for Wealdstone, obviously, it was make or break for them. And then, obviously, even with the victory, it was no guarantee they were going to stay up because they needed Solihull to do a favour, which obviously they did. Ex-Zone man Manny Duku popping up with the equaliser late on for them and staggering them down. And the scenes afterwards from their fans and everything like that, they're all absolutely hurting their work. Because, I mean, even some of their players were pointing fingers at their supporters. I'm like, hang on, you've got absolutely no right to put fingers at their supporters because for a club like Dagenham, to drop into the National League South, my God, that is a real come down. And as we were saying earlier, how competitive that division is going to be next year. They might well struggle to go straight back up. So it is going to be difficult. They are in an absolute mess. I'm totally honest about it. It's more the off-field issues they've really struggled with.
Yeah.
And, they are going to have a big turnover, I think, in the summer, and whether that means they get rid of the manager as well and bring someone in with a big experience in the National South, they might need to, because they need a complete restart, clear and reset again, because they're in an absolute shambles. I will mention as well, because obviously I know one of our loyal viewers and that we'll be watching, obviously, Mr. Luke. I actually sat and watched the Gateshead Southend game, because obviously it was the big one, I guess. And I'll be perfectly honest, in the greatest bit possible. I really wish I hadn't, because if that's what he's been watching for the last couple of months, I understand why they've dropped out of the playoffs, because I think I was just looking, I didn't realize they'd lost 9 of their last 11 games, which obviously before today, which ultimately has killed their hopes. And I mean, I'd love to know about what's happened there, because there hasn't been much in terms of transfer activity. I think it's been the same sort of squad of players. I don't understand what's gone wrong there. It's like they were so clear in those playoff places. It was almost like a case of waiting for them to secure it, rather than they might drop out. And Southend haven't exactly been in the best of form. They've been chipping away a few results, but it's not exactly like they've gone on a 7-8 winning game streak and they've just completely wiped the floor with them. They've only just about managed to get in there. And Altrincham as well, they'll be kicking themselves for not reaching the playoffs either. They had so many chances to make that top 7 and they didn't take it. And Gateshead, and they're the ones that ultimately paid the price for it, which, again, I'm gutted for obviously Luke and then because obviously after all the hassle of last year, missing out on the playoffs, with everything, with the lease of the ground, and obviously getting that sorted now for this year, and now they're not going to be able to compete in the playoffs. I think that's quite gut-wrenching for them, because they've always been so close, but they just haven't quite got over the line. So I am actually gutted for them, to be fair.
It was one of them as well. I will get onto Luke's comments in a minute, but I don't know if you agree, right, Morgan? But for people in the playoffs, like between us, Oldham, obviously Gateshead, Altrincham, Halifax, none of us seemed to wanted to utilise it. Like how many games in hand we had, we didn't obviously take it upon ourselves. Yeah, we've been on a good run recently. Oldham seemed to be losing most games. Obviously, this with Gateshead as well. It was as if none of us wanted to kind of secure the playoff spot, but it weren't just. And I think that's obviously Southend then were winning games as well. Like you said, Ben, who didn't go on like a mad run or anything, but because we were all so inconsistent, they were catching up. Obviously, towards the end, Altrincham kind of threw it away for themselves as well. But it just seemed like none of us actually wanted to be there.
No, I fully agree. I remember seeing it. It's like every week you check the scores, like, oh, this team lost again, or this team drew. It's like, how are you drawing and losing these games? Like, I fully agree. It's like no one wanted it. And obviously, Altrincham then missed out, but Southend kind of did. They snuck out of nowhere. And I don't want to get onto the playoffs too soon, because obviously you've got to play them.
Yeah,
that they're not going to be fun to play against. I know they've got an away game, but that's going to be horrible. They're another team like Oldham, like Halifax. They're going to make that physical. And obviously, we are two very similar teams. We want to play football. We've obviously got the similarities with Sinclair and Cameron John. We could both be sat here in a couple of weeks' time thinking we've ruined this. I really hope we're not. But I'm slightly scared that the physicality of a one-off game could outdo the playing football. But yeah, Southend have come out of nowhere when Altrincham have dropped out. Tamworth, I know, dropped some points. Gateshead have completely thrown it away. Oldham being inconsistent. I know you had a run where I remember speaking to my dad about it. When you had games in hand and you would like 4 in a row, it was like, oh, these are looking really good. And then you'd lose like 3 in a row. And then you'd go up and obviously finish 4th in the end, so you got there. But you were just going on these weird runs and you had all these games in hand because you pitched. You're going like Saturday, Tuesday. And like you'd go on a 2-week stretch and win 4 in a row. It's like, oh, Rochdale are looking really good. And then you'd have like a week and a half where you don't win. It's like, what are you doing? It must be so painful to watch.
Honestly, it was so frustrating. And like from Luke's point of view, but everyone, it just seemed like you'd think, oh, this team's now doing well. And then they'd gone a bad run. And it was like, really? But because everyone was so inconsistent and it just got to a point where that's how we, like, I don't even know how we finished fourth. Like, don't know. I was like, right, fair enough. But yeah, it's so gutting as well, obviously, for Luke, because Gateshead, they were there for so long, and just to then, obviously, for this to happen, and he has commented a few things, so I will read them out. So we put, I don't fancy going on a rant or anything like that, but it's just heartbreaking to see us lose it, how we have done. And then he put, but I knew it was coming for mums. We were going to slip out of the playoffs and not compete in them this season. Just bear with me, by the way, everyone. The stats are shown right there on paper, where we have not been good enough to sustain playoffs, and we deserve to drop out of it due to it, frankly enough. And then he's put, at the end of the day, ever since Elliot left, we haven't been the Gateshead side you were used to. Players have themselves to blame. The management team, same as well. And then he's put, but some players have been playing with the heart and desire, deserve my utmost respect and credit to the club. And then he's put, lost for words is an understatement for me personally. I'm hurting. It's clear. Just need questions and answers from those at the top. What's going on? And then as well, just so much going wrong behind the scenes at our club, clear state. And that was our first clean sheet since February the 7th. Wow.
That's such a long time.
Now, I was going to mention then, like, seeing his comments. Do you think that is one of the big reasons when Rob Elliott left and went to Crawley? Because I know Crawley aren't non-league, but it didn't work out for him there. And then has that had a knock-on effect to Gateshead?
It's a hard one because they've virtually done okay, though, haven't they? Ever since he'd left, like Carl Mackley's sort of taken it on. But then, you know, even before they went on that bad run, they were not doing. They were winning games. Like, I think they were going on at least four win streak, 5 win streak, maybe. But then all of a sudden, it's just going to come down. And like that's the thing, they're a team that, you know, score a lot of goals in that league. Because the way they play is getting a little bit similar to probably the likes of York and that. They like to pass teams to death. Even today, they didn't change their philosophy at all. They just kept playing and playing. And then, you know, then you suddenly realise we're about 10 minutes there, think, oh, actually, we do need a goal. So it's like then they start, you know, putting a bit more pressure on. But again, I don't think they really tested the Southend keeper at all today, which again, I guess is the, you know, the theme of what's been, you know, for the last few months for them. It's just been so hard for them to score goals, and when they've got such good quality going forward as well, and particularly in that midfield, they've got so much creativity. It really is baffling to see how it's gone so badly for them.
It was just a lack of consistency. It's all good being able to batter Forest Green, but if you can't beat Aldershot or Boston, then does it matter? Do you know what, though? I find this and they're very similar. Like the style of play Gateshead want to play as well. They want to play football. And we struggle. How many times have I said we struggle against those teams at the bottom? And you've said it as well, Morgan. The physical teams, because they're no pushovers either. Like they are. And this is what we were saying as well, Jen. Like most teams in the National League, they come to win at the end of the day, and they don't mind being dirty and physical to do that. And if you want to play like the kind of possession-based football, like the likes of Rochdale, York, obviously Gateshead want to play as well. And I don't know if it's similar with Gateshead and York, but with Jim McNulty in particular, it doesn't seem to have that plan B when it comes to obviously that. We're not very physical. Like we do get bullied off it. And I don't know if it's similar with York or with obviously Gateshead as well, but we struggle massively against those teams. We really do.
We have sometimes had a plan B. I know we've lost to, he's just mentioned Boston. We've lost to them. Yeah. I don't know if you've had the same issue against Boston this year.
Yeah,
they love beating teams in the playoffs, don't they? Yeah. Boston are horrible. So yeah, we lost to them. We beat Maidenhead 3-1, I think it was, with two very, very. I think we scored in the 94th and 96th minute winner to turn it from 1-1 to 3-1, and that was going physical. We had Josh Jones and John Lewis on the pitch, so we can do it. We have played something a bit different at times, but there have been games where we've just turned up and just lost. I was like,
am I right saying as well, Morgan? The top 4 teams have actually lost to Braintree, because I think it was the top 3 teams had lost to Braintree, and we were the 4th today to get beat by them.
I didn't know that. I know we had. Oh yeah, Barnet did recently. You did. It doesn't.
And then Forest Green as well. Yeah,
that's insane. We really had a game plan this year. Braintree deserve their flowers. I know we've not touched on it today because obviously they've beaten you. They deserve their flowers.
No, it's fine. I'll touch on it.
Before we talk about Rochdale, I just want to give them their flowers. They came up and obviously they beat Worthing in that playoff final last year in a bit of a mental game. And everyone kind of backed them to go straight back down. They've been absolutely brilliant. I know they've had their financial issues earlier in the year where they had to get rid of some players and they kind of realised they'd massively over budgeted. But Lisby's been excellent. I saw he'd been linked to Peterborough today. And they've just managed to do the right things. Akinde, obviously former Barnet, he scored a penalty against Barnet not too long ago. They've got the complete right setup. So, Braintree deserve their absolute flowers. Another team that's come up from National League South, them and Yeovil both. Obviously, Yeovil have a lot of issues, but they've both come up and solidified. So it'll be interesting to see if Maidstone or Bournemouth can do the same.
You can go back to my prediction video, at the start of the season. I told you Braintree would stay up. I knew they would. Because I looked at those signings they were bringing in, the likes of Akinde and Lisby, and I was like, these are players and that will do a job for them. Because I looked at it, thought teams will be a bit scared of them and go into their stadium as well, which is not the greatest surface in the world. It's a very hostile atmosphere. It's very close. It's a proper non-league sort of venue, and I think that's why some of the top teams have really struggled there to adapt to their game. I think even remember when they were last in the National League. I'm pretty sure Salford went down there and they lost down there as well. So they make it hard for teams down there all the time. And you have got to give them their credit. Yeah, look, they have stayed up. But I would have hated to see the implications financially had they gone down, because like we were saying, they overspent on their budget. And I think it would have been an absolute disaster for them if they went down. Whereas maybe previous times in the National League, they probably go, well, look, we're probably punching above our weight. We're not going to survive for that long. It's almost just a case of just enjoy the moment. But the owner's clearly keen that he wants to stay put and everything like that. And obviously, they made a big decision, obviously, to get rid of Angelo Harrop, the man who wasn't fancied last year to take Braintree up, to be fair. I think they were the only team in that top 7 last year. I thought, they're not going to win the playoffs. It's going to be like, your Worthings or, we were heavily talked about. But they were the ones that came through in the end. And obviously, bringing in Steve Pitt, done an absolutely fantastic job. He's just got them on a brilliant run, and to the end of the season now, they pretty much, albeit they've mathematically secured today, but they got to the last game of the season safe from relegation, which I think he deserves a huge amount of credit, and probably one of the top managers of the second half of the season, and it's ultimately kept him in the National League for another year.
Yeah, I love the way they set up as well, because I'm fairly sure they've got both Lisbys, the twin brothers. You've got Akinde up front, you've got those two on the wing. You've got then a midfield pairing of Matt Robinson, who's 35. He's been there and done it. And Cooper next to him, who's quite young, from I think he's on loan from Colchester. He's creative. In defence, you've got Jamal Fifield, who's been there and done it. They've got the pace where they need it. You've got the experience and the know-it-all where you need it. They've got the creativity where you need it. They've come to the National League and they've set up perfectly. And I'm glad that you predicted it right, because they just know what they're doing. They're brilliant.
I'm gonna have to talk about it now, aren't I? Do you know what? It's not actually the game itself that I don't want to talk about. It's our fans again. I feel like I come on.
We're doing the same rant.
Week in, week out with the same rant. And it's just entitlement at this point, because we've got a home tie in the playoffs. And I say it all the time, but this time last year, we may not have had a club. It's been just over a year since the Ogdens took over. And you think the position we're in now, and Jim McNulty has not actually spent a penny buying a player. It's been loans. Obviously, he's got people in, free agents and stuff from other clubs. It's been loans and stuff. So I think we've done this with all our issues as well, with our pitch. Don't get me wrong, we probably could have gone better. But at the end of the day, we've ended up with injuries and stuff. We were playing Tuesday, Saturday since January. So that's obviously that's not helped. We've got injuries from that. But the game itself, the team got put out, and our fans were moaning at Jim McNulty because he'd put Henderson, Rodney and Jay Bird up front. And they were like, surely we should be resting these players for the playoffs. I get that in one respect. But then if you are going to play these players, you do need to give them some kind of momentum as well. And it's like Jay Bird's just come back from injury. He needs minutes under his belt. If you are going to try things out as well, like if you are going to go with that front three against obviously Southend, you need to kind of get them gelling together, working together. They might not, because obviously we've got Adi Barlow who can play that role as well. But they moaned at first for putting a strong team out. Ryan East came back. I was so excited for that. The news that Ryan East came back. He was actually playing in midfield today. He's been injured the last few weeks, so that's massive for us. He's been absolutely brilliant in midfield with Harvey Gilmore. And as well, it allowed Harvey Gilmore to have a rest, because he's been solid for us the last few months anyway, but especially since Ryan East has obviously been injured. And then really good news as well that Liam Hogan has obviously come back from injury. He was on the bench, managed to get some minutes as well in the second half because we took Sam Beckwith off. So it was kind of one of them games where our fans were moaning that we were playing these key players, but you needed to do that. And you needed to give minutes to people who were coming back from injury. So I didn't expect anything from this game, because I know what Braintree can do as well. I know how we play football. And I've said it time and time again, these are the teams we struggle against. And don't get me wrong, we had our chances, first half in particular. Jillaby Abu, I wanted to say as well, he's on loan from Sheffield United. He had a really good game again down that wing. He played really well. Jay Bird had chances, didn't score. Devante Rodney, Ian Henderson, it just wasn't our day. And then they switched it all up second half. And it was one of them games where we weren't going to end up going any higher in the league. We weren't ending up going any lower. So just kind of give minutes to all your players. Braintree point of view as well, as you mentioned, Lisby got 2 goals. To be honest, our defence could have done a little bit better. They were sloppy goals, especially the second one. Jack Kingdom, bless him, made a mistake. It's the first one he's made all season, to be fair to him. So I know a lot of our fans were on at him and stuff and saying, oh, sloppy goal. But he's a young kid at the end of the day. He's come from Manchester United. He's stepped up when we've needed him the most. It was the first mistake he's made, so can't really argue with that. But yeah, our fans just really annoyed me, because after this game, bearing in mind, we've already secured playoffs. We've rested some of our players, like Toby Adebayo-Rowling didn't feature either. Harvey Gilmore didn't feature whatsoever. So it gave some of them, obviously, the time off. They were all calling for Jim McNulty's head again, saying, oh, Jim McNumpty out. He's not going to get us an EFL towards the EFL now. He's blew it again against these, clubs at the bottom. We're not physical enough. There's no point playing Southend. We're not going to win, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, are you taking a mickey? So a game that we didn't have to win, it would have been nice to win, don't get me wrong. Like, it would have been marvellous. You always want to, like, start on a high, end on a high, don't you, in a season? Would have took the win. But at the end of the day, our players, similar to what Rob said last week against Aldershot, and not wanting to get injured for obviously Wembley, we don't want to get injured for the playoffs, do we? Because at the end of the day, we could do something here. And it really, really annoys me with our fans, because the reaction that comes from them, they just react so quickly. And I think, do you not think logically here? Like, you're calling him, we're 4th in the league. Like, grow up. Like, seriously, grow up now. And it's obviously, it's got to the point now where I'm just tired of it, because no matter what Jim McNulty does, he just gets ridiculed for it. Like, he gets ridiculed at first for starting a strong lineup up front, then for taking him off to rest them and bringing Cairo Mitchell on. Then he gets called again, and now he's getting called Jim McNumpty. It's like, just grow up. Like, I'm over it at this point. So it wasn't actually the game itself that I didn't want to talk about. I just feel like I'm always repeating myself.
Yeah,
it's just boring now.
I think everyone's got to look at the fact that, look, Rochdale, it doesn't matter obviously what happens in say the 46 games. It's getting in the playoffs. That's the thing, because you're not playing the bottom side. Use us as the perfect example. When we went to Farnborough last game of the season, we weren't good enough on the day. Like, we drew 2-2, but again, probably like the Rochdale players are, they've got their eyes on the playoff eliminating. Like I say, they don't want to get injured. They know they're not going to drop, go any higher in the table. They know they're not going to drop any lower. So they're probably thinking, look, let's just get this one ticked off. And Braintree, to their mentality is probably, we want to take another big scout before the season ends. Yeah. So they were probably, that's the thing, more on it than Rochdale be, which is understandable. And I think at the end of the day now, we're away from that now. We're away from all the bottom teams, how they set up. It's all cut again, as we said last week. It's now cut football now. And look, Rochdale have cut pedigree. I always remember that game against Tottenham you played against a few years ago, and you got them to like last minute, got them to a replay. And, it's not exactly like they won't turn up for it. Look, and I think again, you won't be under that same pressure that the likes of, with the great respect also to Morgan, that York, because they'll be under huge pressure.
100%.
And Forest Green as well, because they've spent a lot of money again to try and get up. And I think, if you're betting on money, you would expect one of those two to do it. But
100%.
I don't know. It is a hard one. But again, I think, like I say, you're a bit similar to Torquay. Like, you were in a situation where you nearly lost your club last year. And, the fact they've even gotten to the playoffs after all of that, a year on, is quite remarkable. And I think, Jim McNulty deserves more credit than probably what he's got. I mean, look, they were probably a couple of penalty kicks away from going to Wembley as well. And on top of that, and if you do that, if you got that and got to a playoff final, even if you didn't win both of them, got to Wembley twice, I call that a successful season, because at the end of the day, look, they've gone so far from where they were last year now. And now they're on the cusp of the EFL, just like all the other teams in there. So they've got just as much a chance as anyone else.
What really gets on my nerves as well is we saw Jim McNulty last season struggle with all the troubles we went through, and he just missed the playoffs. Like, just missed them. And then obviously we've got new ownership. They've come with a 3-year plan. And obviously they want to get us within the EFL within those 3 years. We're only in our first year now and we're in the playoffs. Like, it's got to a point now where, and what frustrates me the most is these people, and I've said it time and time again, who were moaning and calling for his head, think we can just bring Fylde back and everything be okay. Football has evolved now. And Fylde, I absolutely adore that man, because what he has done for my club, like, I adore him. He's like one of my heroes, and I've seen the best moments under Fylde. But football evolves now, like the whole game itself, and bringing back Fylde is not going to solve these problems. Right. We've not got any problems apart from our pitch. And the fact that sometimes we need to be that bit more physical. We've not got many problems, to be fair. It's going quite well. But yeah, it just gets right on my nerves that I'm having to repeat myself. But yeah, I will read out this table. Hopefully I won't do it in anger now. So, National League table, top of the table and champions and promoted, we have Barnet on 102 points. Second, we have York City on 96 points. Forest Green are third on 83 points. Rochdale, Dale fans, if any of you are watching, are fourth on 74 points. Oldham Athletic are fifth on 73 points. FD Halifax Town are sixth on 70 points. And Southend United are seventh on 69 points. And then, unfortunately, relegated teams now, it is official. 21st are Dagenham and Redbridge on 53 points. Maidenhead United 22nd on 52 points. AFC Fylde 23rd on 40 points. And Ebbsfleet United, bottom of the National League. All of those teams have been relegated and they finished on 22 points. Quick look now. Obviously, playoffs. Oldham Athletic versus Halifax Town. Do you know what? I can't actually call this one. I don't know about you, Morgan.
I can't either, really. I think the one thing I'd give to Oldham is they drew with us 1-1 on Easter Monday, and they took it like it was a win. They rested some players. I think they had some injuries. Came to us, and they looked really quite good. They bullied us for the second half, and I think all their fans took it away as they almost saw it as a win, and I think they're going to take that if they've got everyone back fit, like I think they do. I think they take that. I know they've not been great at home this year, but I think they've got so much more quality and experience compared to Halifax. I think Chris Millington at Halifax has done a great job this year.
Yeah.
He's got a small budget, a pretty poor pitch. They're not fancied ever, but the fact that they've turned up this year, they finished 6th again. They're in the playoffs again. They're in around Oldham and Rochdale and Southend and York, Forest Green and Barnet. They're doing it again. I think they're going to stumble at the first hurdle, and I think Oldham take it. But I think Chris Millington and Halifax do deserve their flowers. But yeah, I'd give it Oldham. They'd look actually quite good now.
Ben, what do you think about Oldham, Halifax? Who would you put your money on?
It is so tough to call this one, but I think just because Mickey Mellon has been in this situation before, he knows what's expected. Albeit, I don't know if he's done an eliminator before, because obviously with Tranmere, he's always done it for the semi-final straight away. So I don't know if that adds a bit of extra pressure in him, maybe, but I think I've got to go with Oldham on this one. I think they just might just have a bit too much for Halifax on the night. But again, if Halifax were to do it, it wouldn't surprise me, but I am going to go with Oldham on this one.
Lee, who are you going for?
Yeah, I agree, guys. I'm going to go Oldham as well. I think it's going to be too much for Halifax. So, yeah, Oldham.
Jen?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go Oldham as well. I just think it's going to be too much on the day for Halifax, and I just don't think they're going to do it.
I really don't know, because I feel like both teams can be so inconsistent. Like, you'd think with Oldham, the players that they have, and especially, like I mentioned, like you're fond of, Garner scored today as well. He got both goals, I think. So they are getting players back. So they are a really strong side. But I just feel like, especially with Mickey Mellon, and the fans and Mickey Mellon are so against each other and stuff, and there's always problems at the minute with them. I don't know. I just feel like there'll be huge amounts of pressure on them, especially at home, especially the crowd as well that they have behind them. I know obviously that's not great for Halifax because obviously the crowd with Oldham, but I just feel like Halifax. I don't know. This is really hard because both teams, honestly, like I could put up an account for both of them because I've obviously watching them play this season, but I feel like the experience is with Oldham and they've obviously got the crowd and everything on side, but I just feel like it doesn't always help them. And I feel like the amount of pressure they'll be under, I'm going to go for Halifax. I think Halifax will do it. And I actually think it will. I think it'll go further than obviously 90 minutes.
Then moving on to the other one. Shad, do you want to start on Rochdale Southend?
Yeah.
Or we're going to leave you to last.
Honestly, I'm actually Southend with a team that I didn't want to play the most out of them because I feel like they've got the physicality, but they've also got the press as well that we really struggle against our defence. And I just feel like with a Kevin Mayer side as well and what he can do with obviously the budget and the small squad that he does have, and obviously they're there for a reason, momentum, and on our day and with the players, we are more than capable of doing that. Like you've seen, like our front lineup, we've got Devante Rodney fit at the minute, Jay Bird who's scoring, we've got Ian Henderson. You can never write Ian Henderson off. I know obviously Cairo Mitchell as well. He's not been in great form at the minute, but you still can't write Cairo off. We've got the qualities in like Tarinella Rakia. You've got your Toby Adebayo Rowling, Adi Barlow. So we're not short on quality and forwards. But what really, really worries me is I love Harvey Gilmore and Ryan East in midfield. But with the physical players like Southend, they don't always allow your Ryan East and your Harvey Gilmore, who are small players. They're very good, don't get me wrong, they're very technically gifted, but they don't always allow them to play their football. And I feel like everything comes from that midfield and those two players. So that's something I'm really, really worried about. Obviously, height as well. Southend do have height at the back, and we're not very good defending set pieces and corners. That's one thing we lack massively on. So I'm obviously never going to go against my own club. So I'm always going to go for my own club. But I'm going to be honest now, I am not confident at all. Like, I wouldn't have been confident against any of those other sides, but I am 100% not confident against Southend, because I feel like with Southend, they are a bogey team of ours as well. They're a big club as well. They will bring their fans, despite it being on a Thursday night as well. They will bring a lot of fans. And one thing that we cannot hack as well, despite even being at home, and Chris can tell you that as well, obviously from the Spennymoor game, we can sell those tickets, we can get it packed out, but we always crumble at home with a big crowd, and obviously we'll be under a lot of pressure. We really, really will. But at the same time, I've said from obviously that Spennymoor game, I feel like everything happens for a reason as well. And I feel like football gods are a thing. And obviously we got beat a Spennymoor game. It's Ian Henderson's obviously last season, and I think it definitely is going to be his last season now. So I wouldn't write him off. And just under the circumstances with obviously what happened with Joey Thompson as well, I feel like our players, and obviously Jim McNulty in particular, really want to do it for Joey. So I feel like football gods are a thing as well. So I feel like we have that story behind us. So you never know. It's made me laugh from my sister. No matter what happens, we'll have our pies.
That is it. That is
it. That is true. That is true. Jen, I'll go for you next.
You know what the answer's going to be. It always has to be Rochdale. You've got to back Rochdale. I think you're just going to be fine. I think you're probably overthinking it as a fan, like we all do. We always think it when we're in these kind of situations. But I think you've got the capability to do it. So why not go for it?
Lee?
Yeah, up the Dale. Got to go Rochdale on the day. Like you said, you can sell out the stadium. You're going to have all the fans behind you cheering on the team that day. Could the noise be too much for Southend and Rochdale? Even if you nick it by a goal, a scrappy 1-0 win, get through. It's all that counts at the end of the day. So yeah, for me, up the Dale.
Ben, you're allowed to say Southend, everyone, by the way. I won't kick you off the stream, I promise. I promise. You'll all change your answers now, won't you?
I'm going to feel really bad for saying it.
No, don't.
I just have a feeling, I think just looking through the squad that Southend have got, they've got so much quality. And it's nothing to say that Rochdale haven't, because of course they have. But I just have a feeling, I think what Kevin May has done there the last couple of years, he's slowly built that side together. And I don't think they'll go beyond the semi-finals if they do get there. But they're definitely going in the right direction. And I can see him winning this one. I mean, you've got the likes of Jack Bridge, Charlie Kendall, who's someone I really highly rate. You know, I think he really deserves to be playing in the EFL, to be honest with you. They've done really well to get someone like him in their ranks. And there's so much in their squad that I know are quite capable of coming through games like this. It'll be only a goal in it. It won't be a lot. But again, I think, like you say, you see about the fans and like that. They took a lot to Gateshead. They did today, and even for a Thursday night playoffs, even if it might be on DAZN, they'll want to be there back in the team, because this is their first time they've been in the playoffs since they've been in the league. So, obviously, my heart, again, a bit like you were saying, but my heart would go with Rochdale. Of course, it will. But I just have a feeling this occasion it might be Southend, but. Who knows? Maybe the reverse psychology might work in your favour. Who knows?
Hope so. I'm going to stand there like that and put them off. Morgan?
I don't know. It's a tough one to call. Two very, very good teams. There's a lot of quality there. Obviously, Ben's just named a load of the players. One that he forgot to mention, Gus Scott Morris of Southend. Very, very good player. Probably the best right back in the league this year, and that includes Joe Felix. So Southend have a serious amount of quality. They're going to bring the fans. They're going to make it difficult. They're going to be physical. I am going to slightly lean to a little bit of my own hope here and say that the team that wants to play football is going to beat the team that doesn't want to play football. The footballing team is going to beat the physicality. If Rochdale can do it, so can we. So I'm going to back Rochdale here. just my
Thank
own.
you.
In the back of my mind, if a team that can play football can beat a team that wants to be physical, we can do it in the semi-finals. So yeah, back Rochdale there at home.
This made me laugh. Rochdale 17-0, slippers on, off to find a Southend bus. Sam actually lives near Eastleigh, and he said he saw before we played Eastleigh and we beat them, he saw the team bus and he was stood outside it booing them. And obviously we won, so he said from now on, everyone Dale plays is going to boo the bus for me. Go on, Sam, lad.
Love it.
But obviously, the next games will be the semi-finals. So York City, and they are against Oldham or Halifax. What are we all thinking?
We start with me, or we starting with someone else?
Anyone?
Morgan, this is your time to shine.
Yeah. Go on,
Go for it.
If everyone else can back their team, I have to do the same thing. We've got so much quality. We've got 96 points, not gone up. We've got plus 50 goal difference. I think you've just got, you look at how we play. We're not getting out of second gear at the moment. If we go from second, third, fourth to fifth gear, and we are fully on it, and we beat either of them. We play them off the park if we're fully on it. There is obviously their physicality, their compressors. They know they can. They've both done it to us. They're both going to come here with the confidence that, oh, look, we can do it. And they've done it in the last 4 months or so. So they're both going to come here with some confidence. But I'd fully back Adam Hinchelwood and this team. And I know one of the players said at one point, it's like, we're asked, how do you prepare when you've got so long until you play, with it being the 20th? It was like, the best preparation they can do is playing an 11v11 side, like in training. They back the amount of quality in this squad. Like the second team is the best team that they can face. There's no point doing a friendly against a League Two team when there's so much quality in the squad. You can turn to anyone on the bench. Dipwak and Yemi and Dan Batty can both start in League Two and they don't start for us. Like the amount of quality we can bring on in the second half is just terrifyingly good. So yeah, back us to win. I don't know how, I don't care how. I just want us to be at Wembley.
Ben?
I think just because York, when they get the fan base and that right behind them, they create a really good atmosphere. They do, and I just think whoever goes there, they're in for a tough game, regardless of obviously how the way York set up and if maybe the physicality and everything like that. I just think they're going to find a way to get through. I think it's set up there. Like I say, hopefully, for York's sake, Ollie Pearce's injury was only precautionary. The while they took him off. If he's on his A game, York go through for me. And obviously, to go and get 96 points and not win the league, it could have some effect in it, maybe, because whether the players think that it's just not going to go their way, I don't know. Psychologically, it really does depend on the day. But I will back York on this one. I think they will get to the final.
Lee?
Yeah, you can't really say anything else than York, really. If Ollie Pearce is fit, Felix is playing, and the way Hinchelwood puts his teams out like he did for Worthing and that, you can't really see Oldham or Halifax really putting too much of a dent in it. So, yeah, I've got to go York.
Jen?
Yeah, I've got back York as well. There's a reason they've got 96 points in the league. There's a reason they are where they are. So I think they're going to be able to do it on the day.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same. Like, I don't want to because of my predictions, Morgan, so I do apologise. But honestly, York, when we played you, like both times, I know the first one was at the start of the season, but even then, and Felix had a really good game then. But then obviously he came to our place, absolutely battered us. And I just think the quality of you will be too much for him, even against either Oldham or Halifax. I just think the players you've got, and yeah, York, 100%. Next one, obviously Forest Green against either Dale or Rochdale, or Southend. I do it every time. I'm so sorry. Nicknames. Morgan, I will come to you first on this one.
Again, it's a tough one because Forest Green,
It
they
is.
have been inconsistent this year. They've not been as good as you expect. They're on a 4-game unbeaten run. They beat Oldham in the penultimate game of the season. They put 3 past Tamworth, but they only drew with Hartlepool 1-1 today. They drew with Yeovil 1-1 on the last 4 games of the season. These are 2 teams that have nothing to play for and are going to be having takeovers in the summer. Like Yeovil and Hartlepool should be there for the taking. They don't play the prettiest football, Forest Green, but if you can't beat those 2, then what are you doing against Rochdale and Southend? If either of those turn up and fully just want to beat you, they can. Forest Green, they played against us in, I think it was March, and it was probably the worst game of football I've ever watched. It was absolutely awful. And that was them playing quite a cagey game because they didn't want to lose it. If they do the same against either of Rochdale or Southend, if they don't want to lose, it'll go to extra time. They could lose it on penalties. I'm going to back Forest Green to lose that. I don't know who they're going to be playing, but I don't see Forest Green going to Wembley.
Ben?
I'm in full agreement, I'll be honest. I think if the prediction goes as I've just said, and if it is Southend, I just think that they've got it there. And I think Forest Green, they've been here before with playoffs, and they've been, like I say, in the time they've always in the National League, they're a bit, hit and miss, and a bit up and down. And I just don't see them getting an instant return back to the EFL. I think whoever wins that tie out of Rochdale and Southend, I think they go and beat Forest Green. I just don't think they've got enough this year to do it. I think next year they should win the league personally, but I just think maybe this time round I just don't think they've got enough to do it. So if it is, obviously, as I said, I would back Southend if they do it. But even if it's Rochdale, I still think they'd have a chance against them. I just don't see how they get through. York will definitely go through, I think, for me, but Forest Green, I'm not confident that they'll do it.
Just quickly, Green Acres has put, obviously, Forest Green fan. We have been inconsistent since Christmas. However, we beat Oldham the other week, and that was the best I've seen us play since York at home. Lee?
I'm going to say sorry to Green Acres here, but I've never really been a fan of Forest Green. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan of the club and the owner. So sorry, Green Acres. I hope it's Rochdale I'm going Dale.
Thank you.
So, sorry, Green Acres. Not a fan of the club.
Jen?
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said. I just don't think Forest Green are up to it at the minute. They've fallen off, and I just don't think they will make it back to the EFL. They struggled in the EFL, so even if they get back up there, I think they could come straight back down because I don't think they're ready for that league. I think Rochdale are probably going to make it to the final.
I feel like with this one, we've dropped points to all of them, though. This is what I know. Obviously, it's like form and everything, and the games you played before, everything goes out the window. Yeah. And Forest Green are a very tough team to play against. Like, we found it tough playing against them. Obviously, I want to back my own club, but I feel like on the day and with the quality we have, we are more than capable of beating both Southend and Forest Green. But sometimes we are our own worst enemies, and all it takes from us is to make one sloppy mistake or one little minor error, and then we do seem to crumble. I think we're more than capable of beating Forest Green, and out of both teams, out of York and Forest Green, I'm glad we have got this, this part of it. But I really don't. I want to back my club. I want to back myself. Don't get me wrong, but I know what we like. I really do know what we like. That's all I'm going to say.
How good would it be, though, to see York and Rochdale at the final? At Wembley.
I don't think I got on my phone for a day. I think I just threw my phone away, not using it. I couldn't do it.
And it could be the first meet-up between three of us.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Imagine, no, right, Morgan, if that's the case and like you've battered us in all these games this season, and then that one game at Wembley, it comes off like Ian Henderson's ass or something.
So if I'm going to be honest, if it was York Rochdale in the final, I hope Cameron John passed it to Ty Sinclair in the 91st minute.
I would rather have Cameron John score than Tyrese, because I know Tyrese would go straight onto his Instagram and post something about us.
Yep. Cameron John keep quiet about it. I think Ty would make something of it.
To be fair, if it wouldn't surprise me if it was like Tyrese Sinclair, because I think him and Jim McNulty, I don't think they didn't get on, but I know obviously I think he wanted to leave and stuff. I think it was more Jim Bentley he didn't get on with. And obviously he didn't want to stay at the club. But I think and I love Tyrese Sinclair, like when I've met him as well, he's a really lovely lad and stuff. But I think from an Instagram point of view, and obviously from that kind of clickbait, that's why I wouldn't want him scoring. And it's nothing against him, because I do actually really like Tyrese Sinclair and Cammy John as well. But I think he'd rub it in a little bit more if that did happen.
Yeah, it would. 100%.
Just on here as well, quickly. Chris has put, as long as you don't. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, lad. Appreciate
Great
that.
motivation.
I know. Green Acres has put, whoever we play will probably sell out the away allocation of 1,200. Depends how much the home fans get behind our team. And I've said for ages that I expect York to go up. The rest of us are playing off to enjoy the experience. So that is the end. That is the end of the football chat, and what a great chat it's been. Jen, where can everybody find you on the socials?
So it's JenHunt _ on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any social media platforms. You can find me there. It is Liam's charity match next Monday, so there will be a lot of content on my Instagram about that from the Zoomer, because I am pitchside with my friend being an assistant manager for that, raising money for Oddballs charity, the cancer charity, which is incredible. So yes, I will be having a lot of content there next Monday at the museum. I'm hoping it's good weather, hoping it's nice. But yes, other than that, I'll just be enjoying the playoffs.
Love that. Lee, where can everybody find you? And again, happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you.
I won't sing again, no. I won't put anyone through that pain.
So everyone can find me on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, all under Football League Adventures. You're going to find me there. And next Sunday, I will be at the double cup final day at Wembley. So be cheering on the teams there and getting loads and loads of content.
Ben?
First of all, come on the Whitstable for next week. If you want to find me, it's Ben Stones FC1 on Twitter. I probably don't know how active I'll be in the next couple of weeks, whilst obviously the build up to the playoff final. Obviously, I might try and keep it on the down low until it's all over. But if not, that is the place to find. I'll be enjoying the playoffs just like everyone else.
Morgan?
And you can find me on Twitter at _Morgan_Bruce, getting ready for Tuesday the 20th when, we play in playoffs, but keep an eye on Oldham, Halifax, Southend, Rochdale, and see what goes on there.
And if anybody wants to find me, I am SharXREFC. That is on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. My Her Game 2 stuff is Rochdale HGT. And the main ones, the Absolute Football Podcast. As you all can see, we still are the Football Content Award winner for Best New Content Creator. And how amazing, we are now up to 4 live shows a week. So we are on a Monday where we are our Absolutely Non-League show. We are Absolutely Premier League show on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, we are Absolutely Women's show. And then on a Thursday is our Absolutely Lower League show where we cover the EFL Championship, League 1 and League 2. On Twitter, we are Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube, we are Absolute Football Podcast. On Twitch, we are Absolute Football Podcast as well. I don't know why I just didn't say on both of them like I usually do. Which made it more complicated. On Instagram, this one on TikTok, sorry, we are Absolute Football Pod. On Instagram, we are Absolute Football Podcast _. On Blue Skies, we are Absolute Football. And on Facebook, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. So tomorrow you can catch Absolutely Premier League with Sam and the team. I'm going to say Sam and the team because I don't actually know who's on that show, but I know Sam probably will be. It's the only one I know. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone in the chat. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Take care and have a lovely week.